The following is a presentation of USRN on IE Sports Radio. Sonoma Raceway in California. For over 40 years, a showcase for American road racing. 2.5 miles of asphalt winding through the California wine country hills. The fans are connoisseurs. They've cheered the great drivers of NASCAR for decades and seen the hard-breaking brilliance of winners like Gordon, Stewart, Martin, and Rudd. On the grid, the cars look the same in any other day, the colorfully painted weapons of Monster Energy Cup War. But under the skin, they are purpose-built to turn left and right for the twist of road racing. Road racing is special because it's rare. We on the NASCAR circuit visit a lot of racetracks, ovals of many sizes and shapes, but only rarely do we get to show you the opportunity of NASCAR road racing. A road racing show includes scenes rarely witnessed, the only opportunities that drivers have to turn right and left. Stock car racing puts a premium on passing, timely exercise of driver aggression, but road racing demands drivers to slide the cars around a little. But if they slide too much, they won't lead to a time penalty, just a position penalty as the field flies by. And check this out. Road racers actually shift gears. And don't you just love all that fancy footwork? The heel and toe tap dance, the pedal ballet. We never see that on the roundy round races. In other words, you should stick around. You're going to see something special, something rare. 350 kilometers of position swapping, tire sliding, car crashing, gear jamming, tap dancing, NASCAR action. We call it the Toyota Save Mart 350. The Sonoma Raceway in California, wine country, is where NASCAR has come to visit this weekend to not just sip some fruit of the vine, but also to climb some hills, grab some gears, and turn right and left in the first road race since last September at Charlotte. And don't be confused, just because we don't do it often doesn't mean it's not fun and entertaining. Oh no, because today we're in for quite a ride. And also today, we say so long and farewell to a NASCAR legend. All of that coming up next at Sonoma. And hello one and all, I'm Matthew Owens. Welcome to Sonoma. Delighted to have you with us. Seth Eaves comes up in just a moment as we get you set to go for the Toyota Save Mart 350. Opening ceremonies and preliminaries are going on. That's kind of what we are, the warm-up act, a pre-race show. It's like when you go to a snooty restaurant, you buy a nice bottle of wine, they bring it out, pop the cork, let you smell it, pour some in a glass, swirl it around and sip it. Make sure it pleases the palate. Make sure that before the main course, you've got the good stuff. And let me tell you something, we've got the good stuff today, don't we, Seth?
Yeah, we do. We really do. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And it's going to be a fun day. We have all kinds of stuff. So, I don't give too much away here, but, we got a little wine, got a little steak, got a little cheese, got a little everything. We're ready to go.
Yeah, well, Seth knows all about those expensive wines, so let me tell you about the main course. Here, it includes the proper ingredients of a great transmission, a proper pit strategy, the right gear, and a pinch of patience. Who's the best chef at Sonoma on this Sunday? We're close to ducking into the kitchen and finding out. And when you duck into that kitchen, Seth, who do you find on the top of the board on Eve's Odds?
Well, interesting stuff here. We've got Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. at the top of our list today. Each are at 5-1. Then you have Clint Boyer at 8-1. At 12-1, Kyle Larson and Kurt Busch. And for a value pick, 20-1, Michael McDowell.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all of them as we go on throughout the day. So we've got the wine covered, we've got the main course covered, we're going to have dessert covered here soon. But what we have to cover first and foremost, Seth, today we do have a race. No doubt about it, we have a race to talk about today. But today we're also saying so long and paying tribute to a NASCAR legend. As you might know by now, Darrell Waltrip, he is bringing his NASCAR career to a close, and you might be saying, okay, well, hasn't he already been retired for 2 decades? Well, yes, sure he has. From the track, at least. But in the booth today is his final race for NASCAR on Fox, and he's been in that booth for 19 years. He was actually in the booth for some other races on ESPN and TNN prior to that, but he became a full-time broadcaster for Fox when they started covering the sport of NASCAR in 2001. And Darrell has been with us ever since then. He was with us for that first race that Fox had that was on such a horrifyingly tragic day, the death of Dale Earnhardt. And he, really more than anyone, he got us through that time with his talk of staying positive, keep ahead on the road, keep going and keep racing just like Dale would want us to. And I must say, Seth, from that day to this, you can hear and see all the negative publicity on Twitter and so on, throw all of that out the window. He has been a grand ambassador for this sport on and off the track and behind the microphone.
Yes, he has. He sure has. We're gonna miss him. It's gonna be weird next year at Daytona 100 not having him up in the booth. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely is. And we're going to talk more and more about Darrell's achievements, both, as I mentioned, on and off the track throughout the day. Can't wait for that. We're getting close to time to get the command. In fact, David Wilson is the Grand Marshal. He is giving the command as we speak. And these cars will come to life on pit lane. 38 race cars, as I mentioned in the open. You know, the grid looks the same as it always looks prior to a NASCAR event on a Sunday. They are the same colorful pieces of war machinery that they go to war with every weekend, but under the skin, ready to go right and left today. And it's something that, for the longest of times, we only did 2 times a year. Now we do it 3 times a year. And road racing is rare and unique. Rare, kind of like maybe a piece of steak that we're going to talk about here in a few moments. We've got a lot of interesting metaphors and references today, to say the least. But Seth, what makes this race so interesting, before we get into the starting grid, is it's not your normal Sonoma today, is it?
No, it's not. For the first time since 1997, we used the full course. The carousel is back, folks, and the drivers have, none of the drivers in this field today were in that race in 97, so needless to say, it's been an interesting weekend of practice and qualifying.
Yeah, it has been. It's so interesting because, like Seth mentioned, the practice and the qualifying, you see these cars go around the course, and it's kind of strange to see them back on that full course, the carousel. The course that we've been running since 1998 has been 1.99 miles, so basically 2 miles. But today, 2.5 miles this course as we intertwine the carousel, the drag strip, a lot of elevation changes, gears slamming, bumping and banging, and putting the wheel off to the left and the right. We're excited for every single bit of it. More on the racetrack in just a moment, but let's first, as the engines have been fired, let's give you the starting grid for the Toyota Save Mart 350 here today at the Sonoma Raceway in California. Let's do it. As always, start in the back, move forward. 38th starter, Peachtree City, Georgia's Reed Sorensen in the VIPRacingExperience.com Chevrolet. Kyle Weatherman is from Wentzville, Missouri, starts 37th in the Low T Center Chevy. J.J. Yaley of Phoenix, Arizona, starts 36th in the Jacob Company's Ford. Landon Castle from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, starts 35th in the Share Chevrolet. It's Cody Ware from Greensboro, North Carolina in the SBC Contractor Chevy starting 34th, and it's the Formula One Import Chevy of Winnebago, Indiana's Justin Haley, who starts 33rd.
32nd starter is Eric Jones from Byron, Michigan, the Craftsman Toyota. The Geico Military Chevrolet for Welcome, North Carolina's Ty Dillon starts 31st. 30th will be Darrell Wallace Jr. from Mobile, Alabama, and the Worldwide Technology Chevy. 29th, Parker Clearman, TRD 40th Anniversary Toyota. 328th, Matt Tiff from Hinkley, Ohio, in the Acquire Investments Ford. 27th, Corey LaJoy from Mooresville, North Carolina in the GMN Ford. The 26th starter is Austin Dillon from Welcome, North Carolina, the Dow Coating Chevrolet. And starting 25th is his teammate, Daniel Hemrick from Kannapolis, North Carolina, in the Puppy Bank Chevrolet.
Paul Menard from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, starts 24th in the Menards Richmond Ford. Bakersfield, California's Kevin Harvick starts 23rd in the Mobil 1 Ford. Brad Keselowski from Rochester Hills, Michigan, rolls off 22nd in the America's Tire Ford. South Bend, Indiana's Ryan Newman looks for his first road course win today from the 21st starting spot in the Wyndham Rewards Ford. Ryan Preece nearly won yesterday in the K&N race. He's from Hartford, Connecticut, in the Kroger Chevy, starts 20th. Matt DiBenedetto from Grass Valley, California, starts 19th in the Procore Thanks DW Throwback Toyota. David Reagan is from Unadilla, Georgia. He rolls off 18th in the hashtag Thanks DW Ford. And starting 17th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. from Olive Branch, Mississippi. The Roush Performance Thanks DW Ford.
30-16 is Kurt Busch from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Monster Energy Ford. 15th, Eric Almirola from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, in the Smithfield Ford. 14th, Clint Boyer from Emporia, Kansas, in the Rush Truck Centers Ford. Starting 13th is Michael McDowell from Phoenix, Arizona, in the Love's Travel Stops Ford. The 12th starter is Alex Bowman from Tucson, Arizona, in the Exalta Chevrolet. 11th is Jimmy Johnson from El Cajon, California, in the Ally Financial Chevrolet. Starting 10th is Chris Busher from Prosper, Texas, in the Hellman Chevrolet. The 9th starter is Ryan Blaney from High Point, North Carolina, in the PPG Ford.
Mayetta, New Jersey's Martin Truex Jr. won this race a year ago, starts 8th today in the Bass Pro Shops Toyota. Kyle Busch, a two-time Sonoma winner from Las Vegas, starts 7th in the M&M's Hazelnut Toyota. Denny Hamlin nearly won here a couple of years ago. He's from Chesterfield, Virginia, starts 6th in the FedEx Ground Toyota. Daniel Suarez of Monterrey, Mexico, starts 5th in the Ruckus Ford. Chase Elliott won on a road course last year at Watkins Glen. The Dawsonville, Georgia native rolls off 4th in the Napa Auto Parts Chevy. Third starter is Joey Logano from Middletown, Connecticut, in the Shell Pennzoil Ford. Moving to the front row, starting second is William Byron from Charlotte, North Carolina, in the Hurt Chevrolet. A smile is on my face. On the pole, Elk Grove, California's Kyle Larson for the third straight year here in the Credit One Bank Chevrolet. That's your starting grid for the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma, the 31st running.
Smiles on my face too, man.
I tell you what, we mentioned this is Darrell Waltrip's last broadcast for NASCAR on Fox, calling it a career today, and I must say, what a tremendous scene to have on our World Feed monitor here, Seth, that not only do you have Darrell in the booth with Mike and Jeff, but they brought Larry Mack to the track, and he's in the booth today as well. That's fantastic.
That's a great touch. You probably can't hear, but I can't help it. I do have the volume up.
Oh, that's just, oh my gosh.
Man, for people, this brings us back, Matt, and of course, look who the champion was that year. God, we can get going, man. I'm having too many flashbacks.
I know it.
Money is starting to be cut here, people.
I know, it really is. We'll try to wipe away the tears, Seth, with the manufacturer breakdown.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. It's not quite Chevy heavy, but they do have the most. 18 bow ties, 14 blue oval Fords, and 6. So I'm not sure what you call it, Toyotas. We'll just say Toyotas.
There you go. There's the manufacturer breakdown. Okay, let's give you our ones to watch as we always do. We got a little flair to our ones to watch, don't we? The fine wine of Sonoma is experienced and smooth, and that sounds a lot like Kurt Busch, doesn't it? Here at this road course, he's won here once before, and he's come close on several occasions after that. He's learned to love turning left and right, and he's become one of the best to do it. And today, like a fine wine, he is certainly one of the favorites.
After you sip some wine, you have the main course, a big juicy steak, the big hot buttery potato. The meat and potatoes in this beautiful like the younger brother Busch. That's of course Kyle. He's won here twice, trying to get around into this place, and it's tougher than a $2 steak.
And of course, what comes after that main course? Well, that's desserts. And a few drivers have tasted the sweet dessert-like taste of victory this year, such as Hamlin, Keselowski, and Logano. But what about Kyle Larson? He's been eating rice cakes for well over a season for dessert now. Can he win today at Sonoma? We'll have to wait and see about that. But what we do know is that he's on the pole here at Sonoma for the third straight year.
So you've had some wine to start, delicious main course, and some sweet grits dessert. But don't go just yet, because we've got more to offer. Think of this as a fourth meal or late night snack. 7 of the last 12 road course winners have been first-time winners of the right and left turns. Think of Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney. Well, who is a shot to continue that trend today? Well, Michael McDowell. He's an experienced road racer, and he can definitely get it done today. And catch some people napping after that big meet.
Those are our ones to watch as we get set for action today at Sonoma. Let's give you a lay of the land here. 2.52 mile course, 12 turns, technically, I guess. And let's take you around. As the field takes the green flag on the main stretch, they'll immediately cut that wheel to the left. No time for resting. They'll cut to the left for turn 1. They'll grab a gear and climb a winding hill where Seth Eaves is at.
Thanks, Matt. And while they climb that hill through the left-handed turn, we're going to make a blind rise to the right-handed turn 2. Where placement is everything. If you set a wheel wrong here, you could end up in the weeds to driver's left and lose dozens of places. Once safely through turn 2, you start a downhill descent. The left-handed turn 3, and then another quick right of 3A. Then instead of heading towards the chute like we've done for 20 years, it will be hard on the brakes, and hit a right turn, apex to turn 4, and a mat.
And this is the portion of the track where these drivers have never raced on. Once out of turn 4, they'll keep that wheel to the right for turn 5, and then they set up for that hectic carousel that we've kept talking about, which is a wide and sweeping left-hander that gets set up with a blind rise, where drivers will basically be looking at the sky when they turn that wheel to the left. Once and when, if, they are able to negotiate and get the power down out of the carousel, they'll then head down the drag strip, where drag racers run here in Sonoma, and that's where speeds will build up, but immediately they're back on the binders hard to set up for a double apex right-handed hairpin that makes up turn 7. After that, they're on the gas hard, and Seth, they're back to you in the S's.
I'm running around. I'm basically on the Benny and Ned here.
That's right.
And the S's is the fastest part of the track, but it certainly isn't a passing zone. They'll run single file through this section that includes right, left combination. Close to a heavy right-handed turn 10, which is extremely easy to overdrive and put a wheel off in the dirt. But turn 10 is a very important corner because it sets you up for the best passing zone on the track. But before I get back to Matt, I have to ask, right, left. We're still a year away from election season. What's with this right, left?
Once they come out of turn 10, they'll have that Martinsville-like right-handed paperclip turn where a ton of action takes place. Once off turn 11, they'll accelerate to a quick jog to turn 12, which takes you back to the left, and then back to the line. And that's what these drivers will negotiate today at Sonoma 90 times. Again, the length of the race is different. The laps in the race is different because of the new configuration. So, rather than 110 laps, it's 90 laps, 227 miles, 350 kilometers. The stages today will end on laps 20, 40, and 90, so those first two stages, 20 laps each. The final stage will be 50 laps. The race record was set here in 1992 by Ernie Irvan. Swervin' Irvan was swerving that day to an average speed of 81.412 miles an hour. And also, Seth, what we have to remember today is racing on a road course and the strategy of a road course completely different than what we get on an oval. We're going to see a lot of different strategies, probably so many we won't be able to keep up with them.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we got the playoff grid. Jimmy Johnson has the 16th spot, 3 points ahead of Ryan Newman, 7 ahead of Eric Jones. Bernard and Stenhouse are also there, but remember, you're someone like Michael McDowell or someone like that, you win, you're in.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, we're getting to the portion of the season where you got to start counting points as well. 4 drivers are being forced to go to the rear of the field. Ross Chastain, because he was not here to qualify the car. He was, out winning a race in the Midwest, don't you know. J.J. Yaley, this was an impound race, so improper adjustments for J.J. Yaley and Eric Jones sent them to the back. Jones had a flat tire in qualifying. And Daniel Suarez, who was slated to start in the top 5, has to go to the rear. They had to change an engine on that car. So they go to the rear. And I think we've got everything set up. I think we've got the nuts and bolts in here, Seth. You ready to go road racing? We're about half a lap from green, but the thing is, half a lap here under caution pace is a bit.
Here's the thing. I hope the wine didn't make me too tipsy. I think that the steak, potato, and dessert thing probably helped me out with that. So we got our food in, and we're ready to rock and roll. This is going to be It's going to be a very fun day, that is for sure. It's going to be super fun. Glad you're with us here. Special thanks to the good folks at IE Sports Radio for helping us out in a pinch while Mixer continues its technical issues. Glad to be here today. We wouldn't miss this for the world. Darrell Waltrip's last race in the booth, paying tribute to him, and we're road racing. What else could you ask for?
Yeah, not much, huh? I mean, really, what a great day. We love road racing. We only do it 3 times a year in the NASCAR Cup Series ranks, but we absolutely love it. Poses a different challenge to the drivers and teams of the Cup Series. Again, you'll see many different strategies. We might even see some guys coming down pit road in the first 10 to dozen laps of the race. How will they go about racing this new configuration? How will they go about fuel strategy here with the stage links being different? Everything's different today, Seth. Are you ready to go?
Born ready. Pace car's in. And the start of the Toyota Stage Mart 350. Walnut Cove, North Carolina's Matthew Owens. I'm going to turn me down because I'm going to turn it up and listen, no offense.
Yep, the Toyota Camry pace car pulls off, and we're set to go at Sonoma for Darrell Waltrip. We're going to miss him dearly. As they come to the start line, we're ready to go racing at Sonoma. Green flag set to come out. It's time to drop the hammer and boogity, boogity, boogity off up that first hill, boys. We're going to miss you, DW. Thanks for everything. They're off to turn 2.
They already are up the hill. Larson and Byron side by side. Byron now's going to pull about an inch ahead in that yellow Chevrolet. Can Larson fight back? Not quite. William Byron cleared the lead. Larson tucks it second. Logano and Elliott back there side by side for that 3rd position. And there they go. First time of the new Apex, Matt.
William Byron to the lead from the outside pole, and now they head through turn 5, and they set up for the carousel, and this is a blind corner right here. Wide and sweeping left-hander. Byron's clear to the lead as they come through the carousel. Some are still double file in the mid-pack, and now as they come out of the carousel, they'll go down this drag strip. A lot of speed down this straightaway, but you're hard on the binders, just as Byron is here. This double Apex hairpin to the right. This is turn 7. Byron leads the way, and now they're off to the S's.
Yeah, Byron with the lead. Larson second. Then it's Elliott, Logano, and Hamlin. Kyle Busch, Truex, Blaney, and then Johnson. Kurt Busch and Clint Boyer, Matt Vendetta, Ricky Styles, all there in a cluster. Everybody's staying clean for the moment as we've got good racing and good action. Although Kurt Busch is a tire up. Left front tire up for Kurt Busch on the first lap of the race.
So already some contact with Kurt Busch somewhere as in turn 11. Chase Elliott in that classic passing zone outbreaks Kyle Larson, takes the 2nd spot away. So it's Hendrick 1-2. William Byron leads lap number 1. The 24 car's had a lot of success here in the past. He's got Elliott behind him in 2nd as they race to turn 1 and up the hill again.
One thing failed to mention here, because of the new layout, this race is actually 20 laps shorter than it has been. Normally a 110-lap race, but today a 90-lap race. Elliott right to the back of Byron for the race lead. Let's go back to the S's to see what happened with Kurt Busch. Ooh, he got a little wheel hop there, got on the curves, and then he made contact with his former teammate, Clint Boyer.
Yep, he hopped the curbs, and again, those curbs are gonna, I mean, you know, if you watch open wheel racing, IndyCar or Formula One, they usually don't want to use so much curb because it offsets the car, but with these big, heavy stock cars, they can use that curb to rotate the car, so these guys will be slamming those curbs all day long. Problem is, Kurt hit that one in the S's, and it bounced him into Boyer, and that contact with Boyer is what had that damage to the Monster Energy machine. They're heading through turn 7. The leaders are in the S's again.
Yeah, Byron, Elliott, Larson, Logano, and Hamlin, the top 5. Ryan Blaney and Jimmy Johnson were in there 8 to 9. Those two had shared leading roles the last time we were on a road course. Johnson right behind Blaney, so did the guy in front of those two, Martin Truex Jr. You might say it's a Roval reunion as they head to the turn 11.
Yeah, it's great parallelism there, isn't it? As Johnson gets into that heavy braking turn 11, gets underneath the spoiler of Ryan Blaney, who runs in the 8th position. Kyle Busch just ahead. William Byron continues to lead. He and his teammate Chase Elliott are trying to check out from these guys.
Yeah, they really are trying to check out on them there. It is Byron, then it is Elliott. As they head through, they get really checked out from Kyle Larson. So Elliott right there to the back of Byron. Elliott, of course, got his first career win on a road course last year when he walked his Glen.
Just as his Hall of Fame father Bill did. He got his first career win on a road course in Riverside in the 80s. Elliott got that first win at Watkins Glen last year. Terrific duel with Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. Through the carousel, these leaders go, and it's Elliott just 2 car lengths back of William Byron. These two are about 2 seconds clear of third place running Kyle Larson. He's under fire on the drag strip straight away from Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. They head to turn 7. Logano tries to take a peek to the inside of Larson in that double apex right-hander. Let's see if he can get a run through the S's on him.
Yeah, it's going to be the key right here to see if he can get a run through the S's. Logano all over the back of Larson. Then you've got Denny Hamlin right there. Then behind him is Martin Truex Jr. All these guys running nose to tail at the present time. Byron's lead is a full second over Elliott. Ooh, kicked up a little dust there. Everybody kicking up some dust. Careful, guys.
Yeah, very easy to put a wheel off coming out of turn 10 and kick up that dust. Here's Martin Truex Jr. now in turn 11. Pulled down to the inside, he outbrakes Denny Hamlin, gets alongside him, but Hamlin gets a good bite out of turn 11. You don't see that often on the outside in that number 11 turn, but the car number 11 of Hamlin did just that. He holds on to the 5th position. Truex back after him up the hill through turn 1 and back to 2.
Yep, indeed. Look, as they go through that corner, Logano and Hamlin right up there. Kyle Busch right there in the mix as well. 4 wins on road courses. That is the most among active drivers as he heads the corner trying to reel in Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, that's Kyle Busch with those 4 wins, 2 here at Sonoma and 2 at Watkins Glen, and he was nearly a winner at Watkins Glen last year before a pit road penalty late took him out of contention. He's going through that carousel, that wide and sweeping left-hander, trying to get to the bumper of Martin Truex Jr. They sling it out of the carousel and now go down that backstretch, is what we'll call it. We never really had a backstretch here at the old configuration, but back with this one we do. Then in turn 7, Joey Logano to the inside of Kyle Larson. Seth, he had been waiting to make that move, and now he does for 3rd.
Series champ moves into the 3rd position, so Larson back to 4th after winning the pole yesterday. Now we're going to try to set his sights on the top 2. As let's see further back, Kurt Busch, the tire rub is gone on that car, so that is a good encouraging sign. But as they head through 11, it's still Byron.
Yeah, that's a good thing for Kurt Busch that tire rub. It doesn't seem to be smoking, as here's Jimmy Johnson in turn 11. Tries to get to the inside of Ryan Blaney, gets a fender alongside. Blaney got a good jump off the outside. He was able to bite it down, and Blaney will hold on to the position just inside that top 10. We talked about these big, heavy stock cars using those curbs to rotate. They're really hitting those curbs hard in the S's, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. My goodness, hitting those curves, they're getting two wheels firmly off the ground there. I mean, that is really amazing there. They're really catching some air.
Yeah, they sure are. This is not super truck racing, we do promise you, but they are catching some air as they bounce off those curbs. They'll do that in turn 2 and in turn 3, and then they'll do it again through the S's where you've really got to rotate the car. That's why they rotate the car through that very fast portion of the racetrack through those S's. And a lot of the best road racers, they say through those S's, even though, and you heard Seth read it out, it's a right, left, right combination. But through there, you want to try to straighten that section out as much as possible. Try to turn the wheel as little as possible while still making the turns. Now, that sounds kind of strange, but turn the wheel as little as possible. Use those curbs to turn the race car. Boy, don't you love talking about road racing? It's totally different than oval racing, isn't it, Seth?
It really is. Nothing against ovals, but man, road courses are amazing. And boy, one of these it's always great when you have, let me tell you how great it is when you have what I call the super race day, when you have all three of the big series on the same weekend.
Yeah.
But even more magnified, we have 3 road courses.
Yep.
We were in France, then we went to Wisconsin, then went to California. So it really was a wine and cheese type of day.
Yes, it was. Great.
And more good news for the so hate to change sports real quick. The French did not get a good performance from Charles Leclerc. But did not get a win. The second big thing happening in that country today is off to a good start. I just happened to see France was 1-0 up after 24 minutes.
There you are. So France rejoicing in that. They've had a lot to rejoice about lately, believe me. Think back to Indianapolis with Simon Pagenaud. Winning the Grand Prix, winning the pole, winning the race at the 500. And, of course, their men's team world champions last summer as well. Byron holding on to the lead, Seth, and he is suddenly pulled away from Chase Elliott. He's got a 2-second lead on his teammate Elliott. And you know what's impressive about this, and it's obviously a long way to go. What's impressive, Seth, is we've talked about how, some of these young drivers, they don't have much success at road courses. And we were talking about this last night, or yesterday. How about it, Seth? The last time a rookie, well, not a rookie anymore, but the last time a rookie in their first road course race in the Cup Series finished in the top 10 was Juan Pablo Montoya in 2007 when he came here to Sonoma and won the race. It's been a long time.
Yep, and Matthew mentioned earlier about how that 24 car was so dominant. Well, here's your proof of that. Jeff Gordon, the all-time Sonoma winner, 5 of them. Tony Stewart has 3 wins. Other drivers that have 2 wins here, Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvin, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon won 3 straight at Sonoma from 1998 to 2000, then 04 and 06. And William Byron's got that number 24 in the win. Hurts yellow for Byron here today as he leads Chase Elliott by nearly 2 seconds. Then it's Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin, 5 seconds separating the top 5. Here is Byron heading down the drag strip, now hard on the brakes for that double apex right-handed turn 7. It's not a true hairpin, but it might as well be. And the leaders head through there now, and Byron's back onto the S's.
William Byron back to the S's with Elliott in second. Closely added to a battle. Hamlin, Larson, and Truex. Now, we're done the next 4 to 8 laps. We'll probably see some tire fall off. That might allow for some passing opportunities. And so speaking of passing opportunities, you saw Hamlin and Larson battling here a minute. Hamlin going over to the left side. Oh, he got sideways. Denny Hamlin hoping to be in a position where he can lead and maybe not miss turn 11 this time.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Hamlin kind of just created that opportunity for himself that time through the carousel. And, you've heard so many of these drivers, they've never raced at Sonoma on the carousel. A lot of them saying that's probably not a passing zone. Hamlin just made it a passing zone. Meanwhile, pole sitter Kyle Larson continues to slip back, Seth. You talked about the tire degradation here, and it looks like Larson's tires are wearing quickly.
Yeah, very much so. He lost another spot of Martin Truex Jr. He might lose another one here. Kyle Busch is coming quick, fast, and in a hurry. And you know what happens when he gets behind Larson as they head towards the Towards the carousel. Fire in his own zip code, Matt.
Yeah, he is. 2.1 seconds ahead of Chase Elliott. He hits that carousel, and he's right along the bottom, right next to the curbing there that's on the exit of the corner. Elliott's 2 seconds back, then it's about 1 3/4 seconds then to Logano. They swing out of that carousel and sling it wide onto the drag strip, and it's Kyle Busch a little further back, right there behind Kyle Larson. Heavy on the brakes now as they approach turn 7. That is the fight for the 6th position. Let's talk about Denny Hamlin real quick, Seth. He is a really good road. He's turned, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, and it is really fun to watch. Well, not fun to watch. He has just done well. Watkins Glen, he's really well there. I hate to keep changing the subject on you, but I will again. Biggest movers, Eric Jones. He's up 8 spots since the beginning of the race.
He had a flat tire in time trials yesterday, which really put him behind the 8 ball. That's why he started towards the rear of the field, then had to go even further back because of the unapproved adjustments. Kevin Harvick making his way through turn 11. We expected a better qualifying run out of him yesterday. He started 23rd. He's moved up half a dozen spots to 17th. Road feed gives us a look at Kevin Harvick. This is what I love about road courses, Seth. We get to see on our world feed the foot cam, and they are using both of those feet. Harvick looks like he's one of those guys, gas with the right, brake with the left, use the clutch on the left. There might be some other guys that do the old heel and toe method. We love that. Like I said earlier, it looks like a pedal ballet, doesn't it?
Pedal ballet, that's a good term for it. I've really heard that one before, but I like it.
Someone just kicked up some dust there as they came through turn 4. Doesn't look like anyone's off, though. Harvick just went by that section of the racetrack. Let's give a call to Chris Buescher, Seth. Qualified really well here yesterday. Qualified 10th, and guess what? He has stayed right there. He's not back in iota. Chris Buescher having a really good season, and he runs in the 10th position. Let's pick up the battle for 6th on the course. They're coming into the S's.
Larson ahead of Busch as they gun through the S's. Busch right there, as they catch some more air. Busch really right there. Hazelnut Mobile for Kyle Busch here today as he tries to catch the credit one bank car of Kyle Larson. Keeping up with the food thing up there I mentioned with Hazelnut. Meanwhile, Truex is to the bumper of his teammate Hamlin. He's going to make a pass, Matt.
Yep, to the end. Turn 11, a classic overtaking move, and Martin Truex Jr., he's becoming one of the better road course drivers on the circuit, too. He slots himself up into the 4th position as he gets by Denny Hamlin. And they cross the line and head back up the hill to turn 1. Truex up to 4th, and now he'll set his sights on Logano.
Yes, he will. So now Truex, those two have a little bit of history. 3rd and 4th, the position will be the battle there once if Truex gets there. So, and boy, Busch continuing to work Larson over. He's going to get a bumper and miss.
Oh, Busch was, that was some wheel hop right there for Kyle Busch. And, of course, you're going to hear us talk about wheel hop quite a bit today. Wheel hop, what that is sometimes on these road courses, you have to hit the brakes really heavily. And these are very big race cars. 3,000 plus pounds, putting a lot of abuse on those tires. So when you go heavy on the brakes there entering one of those turns, the brakes will lock up, the wheels will start to quite literally hop like a basketball, bop, 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 and they'll hop up and down. The only way you can get out of wheel hop, how about this? When you're about to spin out, the only way you don't spin out, hit the gas. Yeah, try to think on your feet like that, and try to think that quickly, right? If you wheel hop, you're either going to spin or you're going to hit somebody or something. And like I said, only way to get out of it is if you stab the throttle. And, I would just think, Seth, as a person that's never stepped foot in one of these things, if I'm feeling the car hopping underneath me and I'm about to spin, I'm probably not going to have the presence of mind to stab the throttle and go faster.
No kidding.
Oh, don't you just love road racing? You get to talk about curb hop. You get to curb hopping. You get to talk about wheel hopping. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely. And as Seth mentioned earlier, a big thanks to the great people at IE Sports Radio and Spreaker.com for letting us have some fun today. We had some fun last night too, didn't we? Oh my goodness, what a race last night in Gateway.
Yeah, that was a That was wild. Ross Chastain, the Melon Man, doing it again.
Yes, sir. Some redemption for Mr. Chastain. Terrific stuff. And he's here today. He could, we call him the Melon Man. We might need to call him the Marathon Man for what he does each and every week. Jeez. Terrific stuff from Chastain last night, grabbing the victory in the Truck Series at Gateway. So he's got that win. He did pass Tech. For everyone that might not have seen on Twitter, he did pass post-race Tech this time. He'll be in the playoffs if he makes it to the top 20 in points, which we certainly think he will not have a problem in doing. I tell you what, Seth, I don't know how many people thought William Byron would get up there and not only take the lead, but how about run away from this field? He's got a 3-second edge.
He is pulling away big time. He is tough to catch so far.
3-second lead on Chase Elliott. Then it's about another 2 3/4 back to Martin Truex Jr., who runs in the 3rd position. He did get around Joey Logano. We told you he was putting his sights on Logano. He is by. So Truex up into the 3rd position. Logano 4th. Denny Hamlin is 5th. And it looks like, Seth, that Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson are still battling up there on the top of the hill.
Yeah, still, that battle is not going away anytime soon. Byron continues to lead, and Truex got by Logano, and now he's chasing Elliott.
Yep, coming through turn 4. Truex is only about 4 or 5 car lengths back of the Napa number 9. Make their way through turn 5, and now to the carousel. We call it the carousel. If you're wanting numbers, if you're keeping score at home, this is turns 6 and 6A in the carousel. Swing it wide, hit the curbs down the drag strip, and now you're heading to turn 7, which is that double apex hairpin. Behind them, Kyle Busch trying to make a move to the inside of Larson. Can he make the pass? He will. Larson will try the crossover or the switchback. He'll have to stay behind him. So Kyle Busch finally gets by Larson. He's up to 6th.
Up to the 6th position goes Kyle Busch as they head for the S's. So Busch makes that move. Now he'll try to set his sights on teammate Denny Hamlin. And they're about to exit the S's. The leaders are Byron, Elliott, Truex sideways there. Everybody looking sideways, but Truex especially was sideways coming out of that corner.
Oh, man, we talk about the tire degradation here at this track. This track, it might not look like it. This track is tough on some tires. And these tires don't last long here. Leaders across the line, 12 laps are up on the board. 8 laps to go here in this opening stage. And let's follow the battle for second as Truex continues to close in on Elliott at the top of the hill.
Yeah, really closing in. Martin Truex Jr., of course, has had some success here a year ago, winning this particular event at Sonoma. He's got that black and orange number 19 car in full song. He is really creating the pressure to Elliott.
Yeah, he sure is. And he is continuing to close in as William Byron continues to pull away. He makes his way onto the drag strip and heads back to turn 7. You know, this is not a place where his crew chief, Chad Knaus, has had a ton of success, but he did get one win here with Jimmy Johnson, didn't he? In, a little controversial fashion.
A little controversial, very fortuitous.
Yeah, but I tell you what, still, William Byron, he couldn't ask for a better crew chief, could he? Oh, my gosh.
No, I mean, he's only won, 7 championships and 80-plus races.
You know, speaking of the guy that Knaus used to crew chief for, Jimmy Johnson, he is holding up a whole bunch of folks back there in the mid-pack. He is running 9th. But I tell you what, behind him is a train of traffic. I mean, he's got Chris Buescher, he's got Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman, and Clint Boyer all trained up behind him. And wish we could speak to the world feed, because they need to keep a camera on that, because that could get a bit wobbly really quickly, because they were coming through the S's, and they were just nose to tail. So Johnson holding some folks up. Chris Buescher actually just got by him in turn 11. So Buescher moves up a place into the 9th position.
Yeah, you talk about NASCAR. You talk about Jimmy Johnson. He drives the Ally Mobile, but he is
man, yeah, and Eric's trying to get him, isn't he?
Yeah, he's using that bumper there. Eric Almirola all over the back, and then behind him, Clint Boyer was trying to peek at Alex Bowman.
They make their way through turn 4 and now head towards turn 5. Glad the World Feed was listening to us. They got the camera on it really quick. Johnson has really created a train of traffic behind him, and that's what's created this overtaking possibility through the carousel. Almirola once again right to the bumper of Johnson. He can't rattle him yet. Behind them, you've still got Bowman and Boyer battling as they head to turn 7. Johnson sets up wide, locks up the right front heading into turn 7, but he keeps it in front of Almirola while Boyer gets to the inside of Bowman behind them.
Yeah, but Bowman's going to stay in front of him now. Boyer's got to try to find another way through Alex Bowman, and then they cut off of this again. So, but that is some real exciting stuff out there, and that's for a stage point as well. So, probably important action there.
Yeah, it is. Again, the top 10 finishers at the end of a stage get stage points. The winner gets 10 regular season points and 1 playoff point. Second gets 9, third gets 8, and so on down the line. And 10th gets the final points-paying spot. So, that is a very important battle, as Seth mentioned. Jimmy Johnson holding that final point spot. Eric Almirola, Alex Bowman, and Clint Boyer trying to get to it. Just behind those guys, you've then got Michael McDowell, who started 13th. He's running 14th. He's a tremendous road course driver, as we mentioned, and he's going to be in on that battle as well. Let's head to turn 4. Martin Truex Jr. is closed in on the bumper now of Chase Elliott. They make their way through that quick right-handed kink in turn 5, and now make their way to the carousel. Right down towards the bottom of the track to the inside around that yellow line, now to the curbs. Elliott stays about a car length and a half clear of Truex. Swing it onto the drag strip now. Then a quick turn to the left to set up for turn 7. Elliott and Truex under braking. Elliott, will he clip the curb? No, he won't. He'll stay in the second position, but Truex is right there as they come out of 7.
Truex went a little wide there and it's going to lose green. Now he gets up there. I was going to ask you a minute ago, though, man. Is that when coming out of 11, that Chase Elliott using a bit of a weird line there?
Yeah, he is. He is swinging it. Once he comes out of 11, you do have that quick kink to the left in turn 12, and he is sending it very wide out of 11 to set up for a wide entry into 12. It is a very unique line. Back to turn 11. Truex is right there now. Can he get underneath Elliott on the exit of 11? No, he can't. But as they make their way towards 12, again, Elliott comes all the way out where Gilligan's Island used to be, and now cuts down across the line, and they climb the hill to turn 1 and 2. Further back, Clint Boyer gets by Johnson. Johnson lost that 10th spot to Almirola. Now he loses 11th to Almirola's teammate Boyer. Johnson has slipped to 12th. He'll have to fend off teammate Alex Bowman now.
Yes, he will. And now they get by the lap machine. They're getting by a slow car there. And, slow car's going to cause a little bit of trouble there in the wrong spot. But Boyer and Johnson both get by it. Johnson's got to try to set his sights on Boyer. But William Byron and his own zip code, I mean, how dominant he's been to start.
He's got a near 5-second lead on the field, which is unbelievable to think about. That lap car Seth was talking about is J.J. Yaley. He cannot wait for the caution to come out, because if it does, he will get the free pass as long as the leaders don't lap Reed Sorensen, who is the last car on the lead lap, some 85 seconds off the lead. You don't hear that often. To the S's, battle for second.
And Truex again thought about pulling alongside, but couldn't do it, so he stays tucked in behind Bill Michael McDowell all over the back of Alex Bowman. Nearly got in the back of him there in the S's.
Oh boy, McDowell trying to get up towards those points-paying spots as Elliott slides those rear tires. Bill Elliott, don't you know? As he heads...
His car's driving well. The Napa Chevy was driving well. The boy's got really good engines.
Elliott out of turn 11, heading back to the line, trying to desperately hold off Truex to finish second in this stage. They're over the line, 4 to go, and here's Johnson about to lose another place in turn 11. Alex Bowman has gotten to his inside. They're both cockeyed out of the corner, and they run side by side to turn 12. Normally don't see cars go side by side through that kink and up the hill. Johnson is going to take over the spot. Bowman stays in behind.
Yeah, Bowman does stay behind, and he's going to try to bump his teammate, but couldn't get around him. And Bowman has a mirror full of McDowell's. Some good action back here as they head through it. We got pit stops already. Looks like Matt DiBenedetto is in for a pit stop, Mr. Owens.
Yeah, DiBenedetto is in. 4-tire stop here. We talked about the different strategies of road racing, and this certainly is one. Again, you can come down pit road anytime you want, except for the final 2 laps of the stage. Once the leader begins the penultimate lap of the stage, road is closed. So if you want to come down pit road, you either got to do it like DiBenedetto did here, or you got to do it this lap. And I think Jimmy Johnson would like to come down pit road. He is struggling big time, still under fire from Bowman as they approach turn 7. They're going to cut the curb there on the entry to 7. Johnson holds on to the spot, at least for now. William Byron is heading towards turn 11. Will he come onto pit road? We highly doubt it, and he doesn't. Byron holding on to a 5-second lead on Chase Elliott. Let's go back to the S's.
Yeah, that Johnson, Bowman, McDowell, and Kurt Busch is still a mess. Bowman now laying off because he's setting up for a run, maybe 11. He's getting closer to it. Meanwhile, Main straightaway, 5th place.
5th position on the line as Kyle Busch closes on Joey Logano. They come over the line. They'll climb the hill to turn 1, and Ryan Blaney is on pit road, the winner of the most recent road course race that we ran on. That was last September in Charlotte. He's on pit road. Clint Boyer is too. So Blaney and Boyer on pit road. Looks like a couple of more guys, Seth. Kyle, make that Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Kurt Busch is in. Right side tires going on that Monster Energy Chevrolet. They're done there. Now they go over to the left side. That beautiful 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also in the pits. Brad Keselowski, Matt.
Yep, Stenhouse down and away. Keselowski, they're changing right sides. Daniel Suarez is in. Daniel Hemrick, Ryan Newman, all on pit road here. It's 4 tires for Keselowski. Eric Jones, a big wedge adjustment in the back window of the Craftsman Toyota. Austin Dillon is in. Oh, and that's an even bigger adjustment in the back window of Austin Dillon's car. Again, once the leader starts the penultimate lap of the stage, you cannot come down pit road. So these guys trying to get to pit road when they can, and this is going to change the way the running order is going to be, because these leaders are going to stay out. They don't want to give up those stage points. They're going to go to the end of the stage where they are, but they're going to have to pit when the stage ends, which are going to send those guys that just pitted to the front. Oh, trouble!
Michael McDowell has a problem. The back of that 34 machine, off course, keeps it going, but an issue for McDowell is Elliott and Truex come to the pits.
How about this? From and third, Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. pit, and they got into pit road before Byron started the penultimate lap. Kyle Busch is in as well. Michael McDowell just went for a slide for life in turn 7. Sure, he'd like to come down pit road. He cannot. Pit road is now closed, but Elliott and Truex are clear to make their stop. So is Kyle Busch. This should be 4 tires and fuel for everybody.
Yeah, so everyone is. The different strategies are making things interesting as always with the road courses, especially when you have stages. That really makes. Let's go back to the Michael McDowell situation here. He's coming up on Jimmy Johnson, and he gets to him and bumps into him, and Kevin Harvick doesn't slow down.
Oh, yeah.
And sends him around. So Harvick can have the back of him. Dow gets in, no one else collected it, but Kevin apparently forgot what the brake was, or he may have realized he just didn't do it fast enough.
Yeah, McDowell got right up to the bumper of Johnson coming out of that hairpin turn 7. And Johnson's been a roadblock for the better part of 6 or 7 laps now, and I was afraid something like that might happen when Bowman and Boyer was behind him, but instead it happened with McDowell and Harvick, and poor McDowell. He only lost a couple of places out of that, which is good that he didn't lose more, but still, it's going to cost him a chance to score stage points because he's back to 11th, and he's about 4 seconds behind 10th place Paul Menard. William Byron just came through turn 11. He is starting the final lap of this stage. Denny Hamlin is now second through the cycle of stops. Joey Logano is third, Kyle Larson fourth, and Eric Almirola fifth. We begin the final lap of this stage with Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Paul Menard. The rest of the top 10. Let's follow Byron down the middle, Seth. Well, actually, let's not. Harvick to the inside of Johnson in turn 11. He takes 8th.
Yes, he does. Denny Hamlin now to second. It's an interesting year for him. He has 2 wins, 6 but he is 7th in the points. And going to get some more stage points today as he runs 2nd here, but 9 stays behind William Byron. I'm starting to sense a pattern. Rossi won by a bunch. Is Byron going to follow suit? Through one stage, it would appear the answer may just be yes.
Heading towards turn 7 now, 9 seconds in front of Denny Hamlin. Not sure anyone could have possibly expected this kind of performance from him, but here he comes, Seth, out of turn 7.
Yeah, William Byron with a huge lead, and it's Hamlin, Logano, and Almirola top 5. Chris Buescher now 6th, Alex Bowman 7th, Harvick 8th. That's the top 8. Jimmy Johnson 9th, Paul Menard 10th. Michael McDowell, despite his spin, Matt, is still being scored in the 11th position.
So, William Byron closing in on a stage victory here. Points his number 24 towards turn 11. And here he comes out of the number 11 turn, makes the quick jog to turn 12. He will see the green and white checkered flag. William Byron dominates and wins stage 1. Hey, Rick Allen, that's what dominating a stage looks like. Byron wins it. Denny Hamlin will finish 2nd. He'll get 9 stage points. Joey Logano 3rd. Kyle Larson is 4th. Eric Almirola, he'll come across the line and finish the stage in 5th. Rest of the points paying spots: Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, Kevin Harvick, Paul Menard, and Jimmy Johnson, despite being a roadblock, gets a stage point. He comes home 10th in stage number 1 here at Sonoma. So, Seth, William Byron leads all 20 laps. Honestly, who could have expected that?
Lord knows I couldn't. I didn't. That wasn't in the script for me.
So, Byron takes the stage win. 9.3 seconds officially ahead of Denny Hamlin. But now, things are about to change, folks. Things are about to change big time, because all of those guys that we just mentioned, they've got to come down pit road. And the reason they have to come down pit road is, one, they're going to have to fill up with fuel here shortly. But more importantly than that at this point, they need tires. They need fresh rubber. Those tires are gone. The pace drops off in 20 laps, which we just ran. The pace drops off by nearly 3 full seconds over those 20 laps. So they're going to have to come down pit road. But there were a lot of drivers that came down pit road and got fresh tires before the stage ended, such as Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and others. Well, when all of the leaders come in pit road, guess who's going to stay out and assume the lead of the race? That's right, that'd be Chase Elliott. So things are about to change here at Sonoma. We're about to go from a red wine to a white.
By the way, this might be sacrilegious for some. I tried some wine when I was in Gatlinburg a few weeks ago. All of you people that enjoy that here in this part of the world, I tried to sip it. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Really?
Yes.
Now, do you know? Did you have a dry wine?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember. I forgot what flavor it was. To be true, I just know it. I remember the taste. It wasn't pretty. By the way, Matthew, your 3 favorite letters this summer came into play again. VAR took the France goal away.
Oh, wonderful. I don't know.
So they just hit halftime, and it is 0-0.
I don't know why we don't just let VAR play the whole game out for itself. Let's play on a video game and let VAR take away everything. Oh, boy.
Thanks for U.S. World Cup without having to stress through everything. I'm all for it. I'm kidding. I kid.
See, here's the thing, folks. We tried to tell. We said this on the Sports Brunch. I don't know how many. Well, it was when we had the Wild Champions League semifinals, and we said it the week after, and we said, hey, you folks in Europe, y'all not used to instant replay, but guess what? If you bring in instant replay, you can't go back. And I think everybody in the world of soccer, football, whatever you call it, is starting to quickly learn that instant replay is not always perfect. And once you go to it, you can't go back from it. Anyway. Darrell Waltrip, Seth, 72 years of age, from Owensboro, Kentucky. NASCAR Cup champion in 1981, 82, and 85. Winner of the Daytona 500 in historic fashion in 1989. Southern 500 winner of 1992. Five-time winner of the World 600. He was fantastic in that race. He won the very first running of the Winston at Charlotte in controversial fashion, I might add. Most popular driver in 89 and 90. That was a huge upset that he won that after being hated for about a decade.
Thanks, Rusty.
Yeah. In the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, Hall of Fame of the International Motorsports. He was inducted in the International Motorsports Hall of Fame in 2005, America Motorsports Hall of Fame in 2003, 2012 inductee of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, 2001 inductee of the Fairgrounds Speedway Hall of Fame, and all the accolades that he has earned, he truly earned them.
Yes, he did.
Deserved every bit of it. He ran 809 Cup races over 29 years.
Wow, that's a bit of a Captain Obvious statement. That's a lot.
And you know, I know so many people mention he stayed in the game too long. Should have retired 4 or 5 years before he did. And that may be true. That may be true. But I must say, Seth, guys like Richard Petty went through that. We've seen drivers and other athletes in other sports stay longer than they probably should have, performance-wise. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, to think positively about it rather than negatively, it just goes to show you how much you love the sport.
Yeah. Absolutely. He was something else. I was thinking, Matt might not be too beyond, so I was saying how many Darrellisms we could pull into today's podcast. Or this is really an ism, but a certain screech or something. That might happen, just like last year. I had a moment with Brad Keselowski. You remember that?
Yeah, it might happen indeed. Pit road open for the leader, Seth. Take it away with number 11. Darrell used to drive that.
Yeah, now Denny Hamlin does, and over to the right, they're down the right side. So they make a wedge adjustment on that machine. Left side, tires down away. The 11 is out of the pits. How about the 24, Matt?
Right.
Gordon used to drive that one.
Yeah, right side's already off and on. The Hertz number 24. He is not driving Hertz because OJ's on Twitter. Off to the left side of that number 24 Camaro. 4 tires and fuel for Byron. 4 tires and Sunoco Racing fuel for everybody. And it looks like Denny Hamlin has beat Byron off pit road. He has. As too is Kyle Larson. So Hamlin and Larson beat Byron off pit road. Then comes Chris Buescher, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, Eric Almirola, Paul Menard, Joey Logano lost half a dozen positions, and Jimmy Johnson off pit road 10th in line. But, as we mentioned, while those guys pitted, other guys stayed out because they pitted earlier, so Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr. is going to be on the front row for this restart. 22 laps up on the board here. And now that we've got pit road settled, more on DW. 84 career Cup wins, 59 poles, and you know something else that you need to go along with, 13 wins in the Busch Grand National Series. And remember folks, he ran a Busch race as recent as 2006. He finally got to drive that darn Aaron's Dream machine at Martinsville.
I do remember that. That was a special day. Trying to see if we have any pit stops or anything, We have pit stop. Pit penalties. I'm all over the place today.
Can I ask if Bill Elliott pitted?
Yeah, thank you. This new track design's messing me up. I think that's what it is. It's never my fault. Just like every other former broadcaster, it's always someone else's fault.
I thought we were going for Darrellisms today.
Yeah, my brain turned sideways before we even signed on the air. That one was just for you.
See, you know, the wonderful thing about this week, you know, we prep for broadcast in different ways depending on what we're doing. But you know how I prep for the broadcast this week? It's the first time I could say this is how, you know, full prep happened. I just watched old races on YouTube. How terrific was that?
Yeah, I'm more of a film guy myself. Proof of the film of that, I'm already studying, watching film, getting ready for our Florida-Miami broadcast in a couple of months.
So you watch those old races on YouTube of how they used to run the carousel. That was the best way to get ready for this one today.
Now, I've got to confess, I didn't do any of that because I didn't think we'd be on.
Well, we've certainly.
But if there's one sport where I could probably get away with it, I feel like auto racing. The best sport.
Well, it's the best day for William Byron so far.
Ooh, no kidding.
See where he's going to be restarting at here if we can. And he's going to be pretty deep in the field. Looks like he's going to be restarting 20th, maybe 21st. I mean, everything gets changed on its head right here because of how the pit strategies ended up playing out with some of those guys pitting before the stage ended. So here is how the top 10 is going to look. Chase Elliott, the leader. Martin Truex Jr. is second. Kyle Busch third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Clint Bowyer will line up in the fifth position. Sixth to Joey Logano. Seventh to Kyle Larson. Eighth to Jimmy Johnson. Ninth is, timing and scoring just got jumbled up again. Ninth is Ryan Newman now. And Busch is 10th. DiBenedetto just moved up to 6th in timing and scoring somehow. We'll reset that for you before we take the green, just to make double sure. Not timing and scoring just had a moment. I tell you, someone who's having a tough weekend, Seth. You know, some guys just come here, first 1, 2, 3 times they come to a road course, they just can't have much success at all. They can't catch a break. Ryan Blaney had that wonderful line here a handful of years ago. Asked, where's he struggling at? He said, from turns 1 to 12. Which is the whole track. I tell you, a guy that's been struggling all weekend and he can't catch a break is Darrell Wallace. Oh, bless his heart. Yeah, he had an off-road excursion about 3 or 4 different times on Friday in practice, and he's running back here in the 30th position.
Stenhouse Jr. David Reagan driving those DW. And there's they photoshopping DW with Joe Biden. Oh, why in the world is this? Oh, for God's sake. Good night. Is that Bill Parsons as the official? That's what it looked like there.
Oh, no.
We got his face. We got DW being photoshopped and all these different things. Now he's a weightlifter.
He's in the Masked Singer in that previous one. What in the world?
They're having fun with him.
Oh, dear me.
Mike Joy. With him as well. Mike Joy.
You know, Darrell has said on the weeks leading up to this, he just doesn't know what he's going to do after today. He doesn't know if he's going to come to the races, watch them on TV. He does not know.
Well, I wouldn't think he would know. He's been doing this for, 50 years?
Yeah, he's been coming to the track in one form or another for half a century. 19 years in the broadcast, but can we talk? It's been 19 years since Fox took over. My gosh, getting ready for the restart here. Chase Elliott leads. Martin Truex Jr. second. Then it's Blaney, Busch, Bowyer, DiBenedetto, Stenhouse, Keselowski, Newman, and Kurt Busch. Toyota Camry pace car pulls off on the entry to turn 12. Field moving into the restart zone. Green flag goes back up in the air, and Martin Truex Jr. anticipated that restart pretty well to the inside of Chase Elliott as they climb the hill to turn 1.
They do, and Truex is going to clear the lead. Ryan Blaney trying to slide alongside him, but slipping too much. That allowed Kyle Busch to catch up to him. Truex the leader. Elliott second. Blaney down back in that third position. Double file further back. But Elliott right back to Truex as they head to the carousel.
Tell you what, he entered turn 4, and he was right on him, and he still is Elliott. Making their way through turn 5. Ty Dillon put a wheel off into the dirt just a moment ago. He's just in front of Daniel Hemrick. Everybody trying to get through turns 4 and 5 and set up for the carousel where normally you want to go single file. Truex leads from Elliott. Then it's Blaney. Kyle Busch is 4th. Clint Boyer slips up to 5th. Matt DiBenedetto just behind him in 6th as they approach turn 7. Truex will get on the curb. Elliott just off the curb. Truex a bit wide. Elliott closes in.
Elliott does close in Truex. Some rooting and gouging further back in the pack. But it is Truex, Elliott, Blaney, Busch, Kyle Boyer, Eric Jones, and Ryan Newman in a bit of a battle, little ding-dong argy-bargy there, if you will, back around 11th place. William Byron, for those of you that are fans, he's back in 15th ahead of Ty Dillon, just behind Denny Hamlin.
He's already picked up 3 places off the restart, Byron. Here, heading to turn 11, the leaders go. Truex continues to lead. Chase Elliott all over the back of him as they hit the line. It's Truex ahead of Elliott. Ryan Blaney was able to stay in 3rd. He was able to survive the attack from Kyle Busch as they go back to the top of the hill.
Top of the hill, Truex continues to show the way. There's Elliott, Blaney, Busch, and Boyer. Here's Kurt Busch now trying to battle with with Daniel Suarez. That's the car Kurt used to drive. And a little bit of contact there. Suarez now gets it on the curves trying to get by Kurt Busch. So that's a good battle back at 9th place. Busch has completed the pass.
Kurt Busch up to 9th. Daniel Suarez aggressive heading into those blind approach turns in turns 2 and 3, trying to make the pass. That is the fight for 10th. A little bit ahead of them, you've got this 3-car battle. DiBenedetto, Keselowski, and Stenhouse. They're fighting for 6th, 7th, and 8th. They come out of the carousel, head down the drag strip. Keselowski has struggled all weekend long. He's a really good road racer, but he struggled this weekend. But here he is in the top 10 and closing in on DiBenedetto out of turn 7.
Yeah, closing in on the end. He's got Stenhouse right at him. Well, Keselowski's a bit sideways there in the S's. Gets it going, though, and now is able to point forward at Matt DiBenedetto as they go for 6th. DiBenedetto really in need of a really good run. Hasn't had a top 10 yet this year for that 95 bunch. He has one right now, though. He's up in that 6th position.
And he's ran better than what he's finished as well as the leaders file through turn 11. Truex trying to jump away from Elliott now. Further back, Denny Hamlin trying to make his way through traffic. He took a peek to the inside of Ryan Newman. Behind him, you had William Byron get to the inside and get by Daniel Hemrick. So Byron and Hamlin trying to get back towards the front. That's where they ended stage 1 at. Same 2 for Logano and Larson, who stuck behind Kevin Harvick as they make their way back up the hill and grab 4th gear.
Yeah, they did. Now Joey Logano and Austin Dillon really make contact. Logano now on the left side. He'll make the pass on Austin Dillon. Further back, that was a really close call. Larson now right in behind Dillon, but Logano stays ahead of him. Behind Larson, you've got Chris Buescher there as well.
Meanwhile, in the carousel, Chase Elliott pulls up to Martin Truex Jr. These two have left Ryan Blaney in their wake. Blaney about 2 seconds behind these guys. Truex got a good run out of the carousel, really got the power down to go down the drag strip. Now Elliott closes in under braking in turn 7. He'll stay about a car length back of the leader. Behind them, in a fight for the 8th position, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. trying to stay in front of Daniel Suarez. Seth, as Suarez just got around Kurt Busch.
Yes, the Suarez does complete the pass and does get around him. How about Stenhouse now trying to be in front of Suarez? Now setting his sights for Stenhouse. But trying to get there. He's got a good run through the S's there, Suarez. Back to 11. Not 11.
Yeah, turn 11 where Kyle Busch is right on the bumper of Ryan Blaney. Right there in that M&M's Toyota for Kyle Busch, closing in on the PPG Ford Mustang of Ryan Blaney for Penske Racing. Over the line they go, and this fight for 3rd will continue as they scrap their way back up the hill. Here's Busch to the inside.
Yeah, the inside, he gets to the bumper of Blaney. He is bumping it out. It's a bumping around a road course. He uses the bumper and gets by Ryan Blaney. And Blaney come back, trying to bumper his own. Who he will. Didn't quite do enough, though. He got a little hot there. Now Blaney's going to try to really send it in as we head for 5.
Ryan Blaney was not happy. You could see he put a hand out the window net to say, hey, what are you doing? Kyle Busch aggressively up to the third position. Just a moment ago, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had an off-road excursion in turn 10, and then at the top of the hill, that was turn 2, Seth. Eric Almirola airborne on the right side of the Smithfield Mustang.
Yeah, that was a moment.
So Martin Truex Jr. has led 3 laps now in the Toyota Save Mart 350. He has stretched his lead out to 9/10 of a second on Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney just lost that third position to Kyle Busch, so Busch is up to third, Blaney fourth. Clint Boyer is fifth. Rest of the top 10 looks like this. Matt DiBenedetto is sixth. Brad Keselowski seventh. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. eighth. Daniel Suarez and Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. Eric Jones started in the back. He's up to 11th. Denny Hamlin had to restart in the middle of the field. He's up to 12th. Ryan Newman 13th. William Byron, the Stage 1 winner, has slotted himself up to 14th after restarting 19th. Daniel Hemrick runs 15th. Rest of the top 20, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Ty and Austin Dillon, and then pole sitter Kyle Larson. Glad to have you with us on IE Sports Radio on Spreaker.com. Matthew Owens and Seth Eaves here with you. Tremendous to have you, and forgive me as I'm still trying to, we're trying to get used to, at least I'm trying to get used to the Spreaker setup. We do have two messages in the chat section from Larry B. Says, good afternoon, Matthew and Seth. This is one of the best races of the season, and I would tend to agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah.
So feel free to continue to leave messages in the chat section. I'll keep it up. I'll just keep the chat section up, and hopefully I'll be able to see them when they come in. Just still trying to get used to and all of that. Again, we hope to be back on Mixlr here as quickly as possible, but we thank Larry and everyone at IE Sports Radio so much for letting us come on and do the race last night and then this one today.
Yeah. Lawrence by that Ross Chastain. We were talking about it last night. He was fantastic there. And so far, you've got a good performance by William Byron dominating the first stage. Truex is letting a lot of the second stage, but Elliott's not letting him get away.
No, Elliott about a 1 second back, 1.2 seconds last time they crossed the line, so he's trying to keep him honest. Kyle Busch running up in third. Always got to keep an eye on him. And Daniel Suarez is the one on the move, Seth. He just got by Stenhouse. Suarez is seventh.
Daniel Suarez on the move here today, so he has looked really well in this second stage as well. Truex, as soon as I say something about Elliott Truex, we see his lead is now at 1.6 seconds. Matt DiBenedetto is now in the top 5.
Yeah, he just got around Keselowski, and Clint Boyer just went for a ride because he has gone off course somewhere, Seth, because he has slipped back to 37th.
Yeah, not sure what that deal's all about. So his rough go of it continues.
Have to see.
White doesn't want to see that.
Yeah, he picked him in Nearest the Win, as you might be familiar with if you're a listener normally here on IE Sports Radio with Nearest the Win, and as you mentioned, Matt picked Clint Boyer. We were talking before we got on air, Kurt Busch has to win for Seth, because Seth needs a win, because I already have one today with Rossi, so Seth needs Busch to win.
That is correct.
And we'll have perfect parallelism.
Absolutely, no question.
Trying to get to the bottom on what might have happened to Clint Boyer, who's running back in 37th all of a sudden after he was running, and he had to pit for a loose wheel. Loose wheel.
Find time to leave me, loose wheel.
And there we are. There's our first of the day. Turn 11, Joey Logano, rooting his way around Ryan Newman, trying to at least. Newman's never really hard to pass, but as they make their way up the hill, can he get the pass done this time, Seth? Turn 2.
Let's see. Oh, boy. We know how tough Newman is to pass.
Yeah.
And Logano right there, but still can't. They get sticking behind those two. You've got Kevin Harvick. It's all Fords in this trio. And Harvick Harvick's going to get right to the bumper. Logano, but pushes up and misses, so he's got to reset.
But Logano was able to get an inside look on Newman as they came into 4. Now they'll make their way through turn 5, that right-hander that sets up that left-handed carousel turn 6 and 6A. Oh, and Harvick offline, big time going into the carousel. He'll lose quite a bit of time, and he might lose some places in that battle too. And Almirola's off. Eric Almirola is off in the dirt as they approach turn 4, Seth. What might have happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but Eric Almirola off the course. Meanwhile, the Logano-Newman battle continues on in the S's. Logano stays right in front of Ryan Newman. Let's see what kind of response Newman has as Logano gets by Newman. That was a past position. Again, this track's got me all confused. I don't know why. Newman's got some damage. Ryan Newman's got some damage to the front of that Ford Mustang of his through the S's. Look, some of the part of the front of that machine is all bent up.
Yeah, Newman with the front grille of that 6 car, it was all dented in, and I think that might have happened earlier on. I think he might have gotten into Kurt Busch as they were heading into turn 11. That's where Newman's damages come from in that Wyndham Rewards number 6. Let's pick up the leader heading to turn 3A.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin 8, Ricky Stenhouse in 9th. Keep camera on this one. This could be interesting. And Kurt Busch inside top 10. So it's a good trio we have there. Hamlin about 3 car lengths. How about that? Daryl's one of Daryl's old numbers against one of Daryl's old car.
Yeah, that's right. That's Denny Hamlin in turn 4, ahead of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's a car length in front of Kurt Busch. Then you've got Eric Jones, then William Byron, your Stage 1 winner. Byron running in 12th. He's moved up quite a bit since the restart. Then Logano, then the damaged car of Newman, is followed by Kevin Harvick in 15th, and then Daniel Hemrick. Past the midway point of stage number 2, the Toyota Save Mart 350. 9 laps to go, second stage. Again, these first 2 stages, 20 laps each. Up, turn 4, 1 car off. That is Ross Chastain, kicking up some dirt and weeds down there on the exit of turn 4. Couple of cars, including Clint Boyer, will get by him. Off-road excursion there. Let's pick up the battle for 11th.
Yep, battle for 11th. William Byron trade to Eric Jones there. So Byron trying to make a run there, get at least back into the top 10 here, but got to get by Jones just to get to 11th. And, well, now here's Byron and Logano.
Yeah, Logano got a good run into turn 11, got to the inside, but Byron gets a good run on the outside off the corner. He'll stay in front of Logano. That'll allow Jones to skip away by about 2 or 3 car lengths, and they climb the hill, and the battle will continue to turns 1 and 2.
You know, Logano is really all over the back of Byron. Quite getting to the bumper there. Logano in, trying to reel him in. He's to the back. Jones kicks up a little bit of dust in front of them. Meanwhile, the 2 struggling Stuart Haas cars, all the excursionists, are on the main straightaway.
Yeah, really. That's Clint Boyer and Eric Almirola. Boyer gets around Almirola right at the line in a fight for the 35th position. Certainly didn't think that's where they would be, but after, as Seth mentioned, you had Boyer who had to pit for the loose wheel, and then you had Almirola who went around coming out of 3A, and that's why both of them are so far back. Seth, it looks like Kyle Busch is starting to run down Chase Elliott a tad.
Yes, he is, for that second position. And I tell you, it's going to be, so that might be a battle before too long, and Kyle having that thing dialed in. He runs well here, Kyle, so never count him out by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, it's interesting. Look at this top 3, Truex, Elliott, and Kyle Busch. Those are the 3 that just dominated the middle road course race last year up in New York at Watkins Glen. Those were the 3 that were up front all day. Busch and Elliott really dominated the race while leading. Truex was basically either second or third behind those 2 all day long, and then it came down to Elliott v. Truex for the win. Turns 3 and 3A is where Martin Truex Jr.'s at.
Yep, indeed. We're no trouble in the main straightaway, Matt.
Yep, turn 11. Paul Menard's gone for a spin. He is stopped right in the middle of turn 11. He's got to wait for everyone to get by. Then he'll fire it up. He'll shortcut the turn in turn 11, which you can do after a spin to avoid hitting anybody. He was under fire from Michael McDowell, and that was a late move into the corner by McDowell, unfortunately, and that is what has sent Paul Menard around. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, that was Menard's corner. McDowell should have given way. And McDowell's got McDowell's got quite a bit of damage, but that didn't come from that contact. McDowell suffered a lot of front-end damage prior to that. That's not where the damage was suffered for Michael McDowell. He suffered that earlier in the race where he went for his spin in turn 7, of course. So McDowell getting into Menard, but again, we stay green. Course is so big, you don't have to throw a caution for every little offing, which is good. And the next time Truex gets to the line, we'll be down to the final 6 laps of the stage, and he has upped his lead now to north of 2.5 seconds on Chase Elliott. Oh boy, William Byron kicking up some dirt on the exit of turn 10. He's trying to close in on Eric Jones. Joey Logano is putting pressure under him as they make their way back onto the main stretch and off towards turn 12 and to the line. Byron staying in 12th, Logano in 13th. And this battle will continue as they climb the hill and grab third gear.
Yep, so Logano is right there to the back of Byron. The way Byron's been getting that dust last couple of laps, if I'm Logano, I'm not sure I would want to be behind him there. Jimmy Johnson, we're riding on him. He's got the visor cam this week. That might not be a good sign for the 7-time champ.
It hadn't been a good sign since the green flag dropped for Jimmy, I'm afraid.
Currently 20th, and I feel like he should be worse than that.
I mean, he has been a moving chicane this whole race, which is interesting because there is not a chicane at Sonoma. But, I mean, he's been off the pace since the green flag dropped, and it's amazing that he's in the top half of the field. Only just, but he is in the top half of the field in the 20th position. He's making his way towards turn 7. He runs 20th. That is 25 seconds off the lead. As for a reference, Truex, the leader, just came out of turn 10. Johnson's just coming out of turn 7.
Yeah, it's not been of course, Jimmy has never been known as a road racer per se.
Also,
I mean, he only has the road course win. When you think of Jimmy on a road course, you still think about his bush wreck at Watkins Glen almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, really.
Can you believe that's almost been 20 years ago?
Yeah, no kidding. Oh boy, he has had a rough day so far, Johnson, running through turn 11 as we speak. 5 laps to go in this stage. 3 seconds now the lead for Truex. Big question will be, will Chase Elliott be able to hold off Kyle Busch for second? Moment ago, heading to turn 7, Daniel Suarez and Denny Hamlin battling for position. They were just behind Brad Keselowski, and this is inside the top 10, Seth. And did they have a coming together?
Looks like they have. Teammates, Suarez, Hamlin. Ooh, that was close there with Keselowski. Now Hamlin's to the back of Keselowski.
Yeah, make their way down the drag strip, off towards 7. Hamlin pulls to the outside. Can he make an outside pass in the hairpin? Oh, Keselowski runs him wide. Let's see how this ends up.
I'm going to guess not well. Through the S's, Hamlin right beside Keselowski. Let's watch this. This ought to be fun. Hamlin's right there on the bumper of Brad Keselowski as they continue to go through the S's. Keselowski inching away just a teeny bit. And now they get set, making their way through the final sets of the S's. And now setting up for turn number 11.
And Hamlin is going to take a dive to the inside, but Keselowski shuts the door. This battle happening behind 5th place running Matt DiBenedetto, as we have some of the lead lap cars on pit road. I was just about to mention we're getting towards the point where pit stops happened in the first stage, and indeed, with 4 to go here in stage 2, it's Kurt Busch and Eric Jones on pit road. Let's go to Seth for his pick to win.
That will be Kurt Busch. He goes over to the right side of that Monster Energy Chevrolet. Done there. Now they go to the left side. They'll put a can of Sunoco fuel in there. Kurt Busch going to be down and away just a minute. And he is. Eric Jones the same.
Yeah, 4 tires and fuel for Jones. Left side's getting worked on the Craftsman Toyota. Fill it up with Sunoco Racing fuel. And he is away. Meanwhile, let's rejoin the battle between Suarez and Keselowski in the carousel. Suarez forced his way to the inside. Hamlin got around Keselowski a couple of moments ago. Now on the drag strip. Here's Suarez. Sets it up to driver's left on the outside. Can he make the pass? On the outside as they come to the hairpin. Suarez wide. He might be trying for a crossover switchback move. Can he do it off 7?
We got to wiggle a little bit in the entrance there, so no is the answer to that question. As soon as I say that, Suarez gets a heck of a run on the exit. Right up to the back of Brad Keselowski. He's there. Suarez, though, having to stay tucked in line for the time being. Keselowski, Suarez, battling through there as we see Matt DiBenedetto come into pit road.
So DiBenedetto is going to relinquish the 5th place to come down pit road. Ryan Blaney is in just in front of him. These were the drivers that started 4th and 5th, or were running 4th and 5th. Blaney had the first pit entry, first pit box on pit entry. He's in pit road now. Daniel Suarez also in. This will be 4 tires and fuel for everyone. You highly doubt we'll see a 2-tire stop for anyone today. Blaney's away. Alex Bowman is in. Seth for the DiBenedetto throwback.
Yeah, right sides on the 95 Matt DiBenedetto, and they're really slow on the right front there. Now they go over to the left side. Let's see if things work out a little bit better for him there. Meanwhile, Alex Bowman down and away, and David Reagan also in for service.
David Reagan, another one of these Darrell Waltrip throwbacks. Austin Dillon is in too. Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell, Jimmy Johnson, Ty Dillon. All on pit road here with 3 laps to go in the stage. Again, once Martin Truex Jr. comes by the line next time, they will not be able to pit. Pit road will be closed. So all of these pit stops going on with 3 to go in the stage. And the question will be, Seth, will Truex stay on the track and win the stage, or will he pit? How about you take him through turn 10?
Yeah, Truex through turn 10 and now getting through turn 11. And
yep.
He's coming in.
He is. He's going to give up the lead and the win of the stage, trying to keep the lead for when the next stage begins. Probably pretty smart from Cole Perrin and Martin Truex Jr. He's followed in by second-place running Chase Elliott and the third-place car of Kyle Busch. Truex in his box, Seth.
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. is in, and they go there. They already know the right side, now to the left side of the machine. They'll put some gas in it. About the 9 and the 18, they're in too, Matt.
4 tires for Kyle Busch. That's already completed. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for Elliott. Really good stop for Elliott. He's going to pull away just behind Truex. He was pretty far behind Truex when they came in. Dillon has assumed the lead of the race, as there were some drivers that chose to stay out rather than come in, which is very interesting. Hamlin now the leader. Keselowski, Stenhouse, Byron, Logano, and Larson not pitting before the stage ends. Interesting decision, as Denny Hamlin, who leads now by nearly 3 seconds, points that FedEx Toyota down to the left, gets through the carousel, he'll head down the drag strip, and the driver that nearly won here in 2015, he was a corner away from victory here, looks like he's going to win this stage unless he misses turn 11. Seth, chances of that happening, what do you think? Meanwhile, how about we pick up this battle, turn 7, 3 cars under a blanket, Byron, Stenhouse, and Logano. Byron gets by.
I was about to say, I don't know what the chances of that, but the chances of something coming together between these 3 cars might be something. I was just getting ready to say that. Byron, Logano, and Stenhouse. Byron stays right in front of him by about a car length. When down to the inside of that Hertz machine. Now you got Logano trying to fall behind him, getting up dust maybe again. Logano trying to set up for a run at 11. Stenhouse not too far back himself.
Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin comes out of turn 11, 3 seconds ahead of Brad Keselowski, and as he hits the line, he begins the final lap of the second stage. He begins the 40th lap of the race and the final lap of stage 2. Hamlin ahead of Keselowski, then it's a terrific battle for third. It's William Byron and Joey Logano, followed by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as they climb the hill.
Yeah, great battle there between all of those guys. As can't get a camera on Denny Hamlin on a stroll. He's got a 3-second lead over Brad Keselowski. as they work through, Hamlin all by himself, just a comfortable zone for that white and purple FedEx Toyota. He's already at 5, I think. I missed that.
Yep, heading to turn 6, the carousel, Denny Hamlin. 3 seconds in front, strolling towards a stage win. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch gets by Darrell Wallace Jr. to take over the 9th position. It looks like those... Yeah, go ahead.
Wallace in position to possibly get a stage point. Meanwhile, up the hill, Alex Bowman and Daniel Hemrick battling. That's back for 24th, but it is a battle. Bowman getting by him for that position. Meanwhile, in the S's, it is all Denny Hamlin looking smooth, getting through the final set of S's. Hamlin will now set up for turn 11 in just in a few moments. Denny Hamlin all by himself. Through 9-10, here he comes, Matt, setting up for 11.
This is where it all went wrong for him on the final lap in 2015. Doesn't look like it's going to go that way, at least here right now. Hamlin's out of turn 11. Car number 11. Heading to the green and white checkered flag, he goes under the flag and wins stage 2 at Sonoma, followed by Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Joey Logano, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with stage points. Kyle Larson comes home 6th in this stage. Rest of the points-paying positions will go to Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, and as Seth mentioned, through all of his struggles this weekend, Darrell Wallace Jr. gets a stage point. Big point there for the Richard Petty team as he comes across the line 10th in stage number 2. 40 laps are on the board at Sonoma, Seth, and it looks as if it's going to be same situation as it was at the end of the first stage. I would think Hamlin, Keselowski, Byron, Logano, Stenhouse, and Larson would be pitting, which should give the lead of the race back to Truex, Elliott, and Busch.
It should, but one thing I've noticed, I hate to be pompous and play the Benny Parsons and everything else card. Twice they talk about Denny Hamlin missing in 2015. That's 2016, you big dummy.
2016 is he and Tony Stewart had just...
You did that race. You should remember.
I do remember it quite well. What a battle. Lordy day.
Coming up on the final 20 minutes. France and Brazil, 1-1. I'm getting you prepared for next week with some of those statements.
Yeah, no kidding.
Prepared for the final 20 minutes. But anyway, so I've gotten one Darrellism in. Let's see if we get any more in.
Yeah, really.
We're doing on fast track, so we can't really use y'all.
No. Would that be considered a Darrellism? I guess that's just a phrase.
Yeah.
That people use, but we don't really talk about yaw these days anymore with the new cars. It's kind of taken yaw out of the occasion, really. Used to have it all sorts with the car tomorrow when they were skewed.
Yeah.
Well, next Sunday, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Midwest, from the West Coast to the Midwest. They're heading to the Windy City, to the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. And hopefully we'll have that race somewhere, be it on USRN, on Mixler, or here on IA Sports Radio, because what we're looking forward to on that one, if you haven't heard yet, how about the NASCAR debut, if you will, behind the mic for Matt White. He's going to join us for that one at Chicago. Had a heck of a finish in that race last year. And we can't wait for Matt White to join us for that one. I had a wonderful time with him calling the Grand Prix at Indianapolis. And now he gets to call the stock cars at Chicago next Sunday with us. He doesn't know what he's in for, does he?
No, he doesn't. he thought it was something. He thought it was something that was just working for you. Yeah, it's gonna be something when he gets with us next week. It is gonna be. I'm out of words, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just gonna be something else. It's gonna be a sight to behold, that's for sure.
It'll be fun. As heck, we could have a 4-person booth for that race.
DK?
Yeah.
I'm gonna channel my inner Clayton Hughes here for a minute. USRN team winner DKJ.
Oh, dear.
Well, Daryl Kinsey Jr., DKJ.
Yeah. Hey, more power to you.
Or in DK or DKJ. If it's okay with Daryl, that is. Now, if he doesn't like that, we'll respectfully respect his wishes.
Yeah,
Respectfully respect his wishes.
Yeah, well...
Now, come on. That sounded a lot better up in my mind than a DA coming out of my mouth.
Yes, we will respect his wishes because, as we know, Alex doesn't like Bowman the Showman. So... But, oh yes. Road courses, continuing on what the special piece of what road courses are, Seth, how about guys like Parker Kligerman up in 12th and Landon Castle 13th? That's pretty cool to see.
Parker Kligerman had some good practice times earlier in the weekend.
He's a solid road racer. Really is. So, we are closing in on the halfway point of this race. We just completed Stage 2, and I'm about to spew out the least needed comment of the day, but since we are past Stage 2, if we were to get rain and it were to rain the race out, this race would be official. Yeah. I don't think we have to worry about that.
Thank you, Captain Kangaroo Weatherman.
No,
I'm going to use that since one of my bosses at Limestone wrote that.
Nope, don't believe we have to worry about that, do we? We've never had to worry about rain at Sonoma. Mostly because even if it does rain, we got rain tires and windshield wipers. Pit road is open.
There's a double-edged reason why you really didn't need to mention that.
That's right. Pit road is open, and as we anticipated, the first half dozen are coming in, leaving Martin Truex Jr. to claim the lead of the race again. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, and a few others on pit road. Stage 2 winner is in.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin right side tires going on that FedEx Toyota. And now we'll go to the left side of that machine. Put gas in. On the Denny Hamlin machine, getting a 4-tire stop. Now let's go to Matt with Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski is a really good road racer. He's had great success at Watkins Glen, but he's had a huge struggle all weekend long here, and they some kind of struggled on the right rear of that America's Tire Ford Mustang. He's down and away with a 4-tire stop. William Byron is away too. He's going to get out in front of Keselowski, as too will Logano, Stenhouse, and Larson. It was a very slow stop, a rare slow stop for the Penske team, but Keselowski will lose 4 places. Hamlin wins the race off pit road ahead of your Stage 1 winner, William Byron.
Whoa, that was a close call on Byron's crew members.
Yeah, right, one of the crew members was trying to get that piece of tape off the grill, and he didn't get it. He did not get that piece of tape off the front grill. Meanwhile, Ryan Preece with damage to the right rear. That car is no longer Clorox clean.
Thank you. I'll tell you what, that a rough weekend for him.
Yes. To say the least. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, it was a penalty that cost Ryan Preece the win yesterday here in the K&N West race, if you didn't catch it on Twitter. He was leading on an overtime restart, and they deemed that he jumped the restart. Took the win away from him, gave it to Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson, who, by the way, went on to throw up in victory lane again.
I think that's becoming his celebration.
Which is really strange. You know, I thought Carl Edwards' backflip was strange, Seth.
Well, Noah Gragson is strange in of himself.
Oh, boy.
I think we're all good penalty-wise.
You know, I'm just very confused that those guys like Hamlin, Byron, and those guys, I'm very confused that was their strategy right there, to wait until... Whoa, boy, Kurt Busch losing a lot of fuel. Very surprised to see that their strategy was to wait to pit after the stage was over. Because just like it was last, they're going to be restarting in the middle of the field here. And I just don't... I don't agree with that strategy. I think it gives away track position, and track position is so huge here at any road course. So once again, Hamlin, Logano, Byron, Keselowski, those guys, they will be restarting middle of the field. So, I'm asking this to everyone, including you. You can comment because you're with me here. And everybody else can comment in the chat section. How are we liking the bringing back of the infield section? Turn 4 and turn 5, the carousel, the drag strip, and the double apex hairpin in 7.
I want you there to make the Tums double A7 heartburn turn.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, too much. I'm enjoying the carousel. I'm going to really enjoy it, I think, here coming out of this thing's restart. Now we're getting towards the end of it.
Yep.
Final stage, and it can get spicy. It can get really interesting here in the final moments of the race if we have a battle for the win, per se. So, a lot on the line, that's for sure. A lot to follow, and we can't wait to bring you the rest of this exciting race here on IE Sports Radio.
Well, you
I
know,
can't believe I haven't messed up and said USRN yet. I guess we could go the ESPN on ABC route. This is USRN on IE Sports Radio.
well, yeah, that's how it's titled. That's how the broadcast is titled. So that word.
That's how we started the broadcast off. All we need is
So yes, glad to have you with us. This is the USRN Chucklehead Hour on IE Sports Radio, Spreaker.com. And we're just having a good old time here in wine country. No one's brought me a glass of wine yet, unfortunately, but I guess I will survive.
That's a good thing that we don't have wine up here. We're already bad enough sober.
Love me some Merlot. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. You want to talk about some good Merlot? I had some terrific Merlot in Louisville last summer. Oh my goodness.
So you did find some alcohol beverage that you like up there?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've never been a bourbon person, which of course is where Kentucky.
That's their beverage of choice.
Yes. Kentucky loves them some bourbon. I had a mint julep, which is chock full of bourbon. It was. I was very happy to have it because I'd never had a mint julep, and I had it at Churchill Downs, and it was a historic moment for me. But I can't say I actually enjoyed the drink. But either way, we haven't had any wine sent up to us here in our USRN booth.
Yeah.
All we
booty montage on my screen right now.
all we need is Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond to be in our Hollywood hotel, and we can call them a bunch of wine and cheese. Wine, I said. Wine.
Yeah. And we need Dick Berger to come up with the water guns.
No, what we need is Dick Berger on Gilligan's Island.
Yes, that's right.
Unfortunately, Gilligan's Island no longer exists here at Sonoma. Really a shame.
Yeah, talk not being on a hot seat anymore.
Tony.
So, Heyman, what's your thoughts on this race? Listen, never mind that. We got to go restart zone.
Yes, coming to the restart zone, it's Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott on the front row. Green flag up in the air, 44 laps up on the board. Next time we come across the line, we'll be halfway home, and they're side by side for the lead as they go up the hill.
Yeah, Truex picks up a little dust.
Whoa.
He gets to the back of it. Ryan Blaney now shoots left side. He'll go to second. What a run by Blaney. Elliott third. Busch fourth. Blaney in second, right by Truex. Everybody will have a kicking up dust, but Truex leads. Now Blaney's going to go for the lead.
Terrific move by Ryan Blaney to the inside in turn 4 to get to the inside of Truex. Truex tries to shut the door in turn 5. Blaney's going to stay behind him as they approach now the carousel. And here's Chase Elliott to the inside of Blaney. This really isn't an overtaking spot. It is where Dale Earnhardt got by Mark Martin on the final laps in 95, but Elliott's going to stay to the inside of Blaney. Blaney holds on to the spot as they race to turn 7 down the drag strip. Truex leads. Blaney to the inside of Elliott. Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez watches this battle every step of the way.
Yeah, it looks like Blaney's finally going to clear Elliott for second for the time being in the S's as they motor through the S's. Bart Truex Jr. is still the race leader, but Elliott is not done with Blaney. That battle is far from over. Elliott trying to reel him in, but it's still Ryan Blaney running in second as they set up for turn number 11.
Elliott should have a good run coming here into 11 as they go down into this right-handed hairpin. Elliott gets alongside, and they'll go door handle to door handle as they race to 12. Blaney got a better drive off, though. He'll stay in second, but Elliott, here he comes. He confronts him on the outside. Up the hill they go.
Here they come. There they go. I had to do it once. Elliott going to clear Blaney for the second position. He's got it. Chase Elliott moves to second. Now, Blaney and Busch running side by side for third. Blaney's going to stay in front of him for the time being. Now Busch has problems to his right side. Daniel Suarez is coming. Here he comes.
Suarez to the inside as he comes into turn 4. He hit the curb to the inside. Busch hit the curb to the outside, and Busch holds onto the spot through turn 5. But Suarez isn't done. That ruckus Ford Mustang points it to the left in the carousel. He gets to the bottom of Busch. Here they come out of that wide sweeping carousel. Suarez kicks up dust off the curb. He'll stay in behind Kyle Busch in his slipstream as they head down the drag strip and back to 7, and they'll stay in line. Truex, Elliott, Blaney, Busch, and Suarez, the top 5.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez, you mentioned his sponsor. He's trying to create a ruckus with that 41 car here today. Truex now leads by more than a second. And, Ty Dillon,
man.
Sideways in the S's. Paul Menard all over the back of him, but Dillon keeps it pointed in the right direction. That was a close call. Ty Dillon in front of Paul Menard and William Byron, and Eric Almirola behind them. Menard now the bumper of Dillon. Still sideways as Byron pulls alongside him.
I don't think that battle's done. I don't think Paul Menard's very happy at Ty Dillon. Nearly turned him in the S's, then nearly did it again in turn 10, and William Byron's going to have to be extra careful to pick his way through that. We know Byron's got a really good car. He doesn't need to mess it up in that battle. Meanwhile, top of the hill, battle for third.
Yeah, Kyle Busch still all over the back of Ryan Blaney. Blaney with his mirror full of hazelnuts, M&M's. They'll set up for the third by. Busch going to get in there. He gets into the back of him, and the Ty Dillon messes. In other words, Busch goes alongside him at 5.
Yeah, he got into the back of Blaney and just rooted him out of the groove. Kyle Busch moves up into the third position. Now Daniel Suarez will look to capitalize on all of this. Blaney shuts the door on him in the carousel. But Seth, you mentioned it as they went to turn 5. Busch just didn't get off the brake.
No, another different angle and a little bit of a less sturdier car, and that thing would have spun out probably.
Yeah. So Kyle Busch aggressively moves around Blaney and up to the third position. Now Blaney has to defend from Suarez out of 7.
See, Rick Allen, that's how you use the words aggressive and around in the same sentence. As Suarez is now right behind Blaney through the S's, Daniel Suarez, I mean, again, just like he's been all year, quietly up there in the mix, running in that top 5.
Meanwhile, Kyle Busch has set sail. He has pulled away from Blaney and Suarez, and now he's trying to draw a bead on the top 2. Truex, the defending champion of this race, and then you've got Chase Elliott, the top 2. Truex and Elliott both won on road courses last year, and then Kyle Busch, who has 4 road course wins in his Cup career.
And Ryan Newman right behind him in the 6th position. How about, again, you don't think about it, and you look up and, like, my goodness, there he is. In that blue and white Wyndham Resort, number 6, we're almost halfway through the season. I'm still getting a little bit weirded out seeing Ryan drive a Roush car. Yep,
Newman in that Roush number 6, having a pretty solid run, as Seth mentioned, up there in the 6th position. Truex continues to lead by 1.2 seconds on Chase Elliott. Then it's another 1.5 seconds back to third place running Kyle Busch. Larry B left us another message. He said the carousel added so much more to this race. He also says he became a NASCAR fan right after they took it out, which of course would have been about 98, 99. And he said he's never seen a race at Sonoma with it. So he's very excited about it, and he's enjoying it, he says. I'm glad you are. And again, thanks to Larry B. and everyone, the great folks here at IE Sports Radio and Spreaker.com, which again, we have not gotten that wrong yet today. I'm like Seth, I'm shocked that one of us haven't made that mistake yet, but big...
pretty good, I don't think any of us... Now, none of us called Mike Snyder, Johnny Sauter last night. I thought for sure one of us was going to make that mistake. Yeah, go figure. Of all things, of all mistakes, I say Bill Elliott's still shape.
Yeah, we haven't had to avoid that since Road America last year.
Yeah, that was strange. Before that, we hadn't had to worry about that, I think, ever.
No, I don't think so. Oh, mercy me. But yes, big thanks to Larry and everyone here at IE Sports Radio for letting us hop on, and maybe, if we're lucky, we can do it again next Sunday at Chicago if Mixler is still down, which we certainly hope doesn't happen. We hope we can get back on to Mixler, and because I'm sure everybody that listens to us over there is probably, well, where are they?
Where are you?
Picked a
there they were, there they went.
Picked a fine time to leave me loose, Mixler.
I'm glad you can drive.
See, the thing is, I can't do that either.
I'm glad you can broadcast.
I'm not quite sure if I can do that either.
Oh, stop.
Oh, mercy. Oh, goodness me. We're having fun honoring Darrell Waltrip today. Seth, you might have heard Seth earlier that we are trying to honor him throughout the day with a few DW-isms throughout the day, and boy, we're going to miss him. It just came across my screen. Are you going to watch the High Wire act tonight with Nick Walinda?
I saw something about that earlier today. Yeah, I might do it. I mean, I don't think I have anything else planned. I mean, there's a baseball game, but, Albert made his return Friday. Now it's kind of overkill the rest of the weekend.
It kind of is. But, yeah, that another High Wire. Was that the same? See, I don't follow that sport. Some people call that a sport. I don't know. If you want to call it a sport, fine. But I don't follow that sport. So was that the same guy that did the High Wire over Niagara Falls a handful of years ago?
So I don't know. I follow it when it happens, and then I forget all about it. So.
See, the thing is, and I don't know if I can watch that. I'm holding my breath too much. Anyway, working lap 50, and Kyle Busch is catching Chase Elliott. No doubt about that, as he is closing in turn 7. Our camera just had a seizure. but Kyle Busch is closing in on Chase Elliott. Seth, make sense of what they're showing us, please.
Yeah, hey, how about Jamie McMurray up there in the Larry spot?
I was going to say... I thought you were going to say, how about Jamie McMurray up in the lead?
Martin Truex, his one's Martin Truex Jr. Jeff Gordon's was Daniel Suarez. Larry Max going back to that. I just forgot the original question you asked me.
I said, make sense of what the camera's giving us.
Okay, basically just the camera's giving us these people. Hold on a minute, how the heck did Eric Jones get up to 8?
Well, how the heck does Jimmy Johnson 10th?
He's been a roadblock.
I mean, he has.
This is giving people that, what the heck was that camera shot to the left? But anyway, I think Darrell is sneaking in there. I think his last ever one to watch.
The world feed is having...
Now Mike's playing rabbit ears. What the heck's going on out here? But anyway, good night. I'm all mixed up again. Battle for second. Busch! Boy, he's wanting to use that bumper a lot today, isn't he? But Elliott stays in front of him.
Yep, down the drag strip, it's Elliott ahead of Busch as we try to fix ourselves. Busch trying to get down to the inside. He has been aggressive. He's got a lot of damage on the front end. He's going to root Elliott out of the groove, and Kyle Busch is up to second. You're right, Seth. He is extra aggressive today. I didn't know if Kyle Busch could be extra aggressive. You said in the open he was as tough as a $2 steak.
Yeah. But yeah, that damage is a is a bit concerning up there. It almost leaves a hole in that car.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah, he hit someone else with the bumper again in third place. That hole there on the left side of that hood's going to get bigger.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if that might make that car overheat with the way that is all crunched in. Might be something to watch, but as we speak, it's now a Joe Gibbs Racing 1-2 show. Truex leading. And he's across the line to complete lap number 51. Moves around the outside of J.J. Yaley in turn 1.
Yes, Yaley goes his lap. Rick Ware Racing number 51. And trouble.
Turn 11, Ryan Preece has gone around. He was running on the outskirts of the top 30. He was running with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Corey LaJoie, and Darrell Wallace Jr., and Preece has spun in turn 11. Rejoins the racetrack, and let's see what might have happened here. Oh, no, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And off the bumper of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. he goes, and do we need to tell him there's not a restrictor plate on the car here at Sonoma?
We might have to, after all. He's got some damage to the back of that car. Oh, Ricky.
Yeah, oh, Ricky. Bless his heart. All right, Ricky. There's one! There's one!
Oh, there you go.
There's one.
All right, Ricky. Whoa, don't slip in the back of Ryan, Ricky.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So Stenhouse sends Preece for a spin over there in the number 11 turn. Getting a look on our world feed of all the spotters. You know, normally you only have one spotter. But when you come to these road courses, and some use 2 spotters at Pocono and even Daytona and Talladega sometimes. But when you come to a road course, you got to have at least 3 or 4 spotters stationed around the track.
Absolutely. Oh, got trouble again. Michael McDowell is spun at the end of turn 11.
Man, oh man, and Denny Hamlin did a nice job avoiding. McDowell has put it in reverse. Ty Dillon goes around him. Ricky Stenhouse, Darrell Wallace, and Michael McDowell with a tough break. He's had 2 spins now this afternoon, and he's going to come directly onto pit road coming out of turn 10. He went around. Seth, what happened here?
We might have got around the bumper of Logano. He might have spun.
Boy, that turn 10 is so tough because that's when the car is at its lightest. Feels like a feather through that corner. And it is very easy to turn around a car there with or without help. McDowell on pit road. This might work to his advantage, though, because now he gets his pit stop out of the way and he might get into some clean air. But I tell you what, his front end looks like Kyle Busch's front end.
No kidding. Let's go further back and follow that Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon. That's back at 21st.
Yeah, 21st position for our Stage 2 winner Hamlin. They're heading down the drag strip and off towards turn 7. And you know, this is what I said, Seth. I said it just a few moments ago. This is why I'm confused at why Hamlin, Byron, Logano, and those guys didn't pit with 3 to go in the last stage. Because now look how far back they are, and they're not gaining.
No, they are not.
And I was just very confused at that strategy, and I think it's really hurt them. And really a shame, too, because it's put guys like Byron and Hamlin, who clearly have cars that could actually win the race, it's put them well behind.
Here's a great tweet from our buddy Frank Ballab, who says, Kyle Busch has damaged his bumper, or should I say, the thin candy shell.
There you go. William Byron trying to move up, Seth. Turn 2.
Yeah, William Byron in 15th, and you got Daniel Hemrick and Eric Almirola back there behind him as Hemrick really tries to get to the bumper of Byron. Different look for Hemrick this week, the orange and white machine as they head for 5. Hemrick is right there, but kicked up dust, Chris Buescher.
Yep, Chris Buescher coming out of turn 4, kicked up a bunch of dust as now they make their way through 5. Byron ahead of Hemrick as he tries to get back towards the front. Byron led every lap in stage 1. Now through the carousel, he can set his sights on Clint Bowyer. He had to pit earlier in the race, unscheduled stop for a loose wheel. He was back in 36th position at one point. Now Bowyer's 14th. That's who Byron's trying to catch. Bowyer just behind Buescher. These 3 come out of turn 7.
Yeah. These 3 coming out out of turn number 7. You can Byron it right there in the 15th position. Okay, I still haven't hit these chat now swearing it hurt anything other than Lowe's pit here. He looks weird in that Ally Fire suit.
Well, the whole car looks like a mustard bottle threw up on it. Meanwhile, Eric Almirola just got a good run out of turn 10. He ducks to the inside of Daniel Hemrick in turn 11, and he will make the pass. Almirola gets up to 16th. And then a couple of cars behind them, Seth, is Kyle Larson. We told you at the start, while everybody else has been eating, hot fudge sundaes and banana splits for dessert this year, Kyle Larson has been eating nothing but rice cakes for the better part of a year. And he couldn't even lead the first lap from the pole, unfortunately. And day's just gotten worse and worse for Larson as it's gone along.
So what would you call his all-star race win? Just maybe a slight teeny cookie?
Yeah, I think that was like a tease. He got one chocolate chip, and that was it. It was like a tease. A shame, really. And then afterwards, he asked, "Does that lock us into the playoffs, Kyle?" How long have we been running the All-Star race and it's been a non-points event?
Wait, he actually asked that?
Yeah, he asked in the post-race press conference, "Does this lock us into the playoffs?" And then when he was told no, he then said, "Well, do we at least get some playoff points?" No!
Kyle! Oh my gosh. I just got confirmation from our Studio G associate producer, engineer, /statman/everything man, Double E, that we are going to extra time between France and Brazil.
Well, didn't you just know that was going to happen? Just knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, France and Brazil. Those two have had some meetings on the pitch before in all forms of the sport.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about 1998?
Are you kidding me? The first World Cup final I ever watched. I'll never forget watching Zidane and Petit and Henry just blitz the Brazilians.
Yeah, my gosh, they just crushed them. Absolutely crushed them.
Oh my God. The tournament I fell in love with the sport. Are you kidding me? I'll never forget that final. What a moment. And then, of course, 2006 on the men's side as well. France upsetting Brazil.
Boy, Brazil had lost, I think it was like 7 straight games heading into the World Cup. If they were to beat France, who is one of the favorites to win this thing.
If we do that, then we probably, barring a positive result tomorrow, we get 2011 flashbacks.
That's right. That's exactly where I was going with that. Everybody's been setting up for U.S. and France, and we might get U.S.-Brazil. Where's Abby, please? Meanwhile, Larry sent us a message 10 minutes ago.
You deliver a decent cross for us in this one?
You guys are doing great on saying Spreaker instead of Mixler. That's more than I can say for me saying the Los Angeles Chargers and not the San Diego Chargers.
Bring it out show last season. Oh, well. Yeah, that's been difficult for a lot of people the last couple of years.
Heck, I still have people that say San Diego to me. I'm like, well.
Truex is leading out 2 full sets over Kyle Busch. There's Elliott, Blaney, Suarez, Newman, DiBenedetto, Jones, Johnson, and Harvick. Saw a tweet from our good friend Owens Janice who says if Ryan Blaney gets with Blaney's car he feels, if he can stay where he's at and get a late race restart, he might can win this race. That
car looks very racy on restarts. Good short run car Blaney's got, it looks like. I think he's right in that. 34 to go, and obviously one more pit stop needed for everyone for fuel, but they can make it to the end on one more fuel stop from this point on. Which brings the question, when do you pit? Do you pit right when your window opens with 31 or 32 laps to go and be forced to go 30 laps on these tires? Or do you try to stretch the tires on this run and not pit until about 20 to go?
You may remember Colt Earn and Martin Truex Jr. played a little strategy game and juked out Harvick and Childers last year in this event.
Yeah, that's right. It's absolutely, and the strategy is going to have to be all these pit stops and when they come, and how many to go when they do come down pit road. It's going to be interesting because, Seth, I'm telling you, I don't understand what Byron, Logano, Keselowski, and Hamlin, what those guys are doing. They are still mired back outside the top 10. Heck, Byron's the only one that's inside the top 15. They're going to have to do something special to get back to the front where they really belong. They've got a car that can win a race.
Kyle Busch, by the way, a few minutes ago when he moved Blaney up the racetrack, said, quote, "Tell him that was my bad. I'm an idiot."
Your words, not mine.
So, I'm sure that's going to be met with some interesting remarks by a lot of people. And Harvick at night, it's going to be another race without a victory for Stuart Haas. Is the circle not going to continue to be broken? Well, not unbroken. I'm trying to make a pun there. It didn't work, but nevertheless, is the sequence of only 3 teams winning going to continue?
It might. It might, because I think we got a pretty good shot looking at that top 4.
Yeah, and then who we have? So I'm trying to think of the other big sport, the other one. Because how many IndyCar teams? We've had Penske, we've had Harding Steinbrenner, we've had Andretti, and the Lanigan Rahal one with Sato, didn't they?
Yep, that's right.
So that's what, 4 or 5, right?
Yep, that's 4.
Ganassi, of course. So Penske, Andretti, Ganassi, Harding, and Rahal. So that's 5.
Yep.
So that's got the most competition because both Indy and NASCAR are better than the F1 that has just the one team. That's one.
And that's right.
And the one team that's going to win every single race, more than likely.
That's also right. The only way they don't is if the two collide into each other and take each other out, a la Spain a handful of years ago.
That's the only way.
I wouldn't be complaining if it happened either. 32 laps to go.
I'll tell you what, I'm like you, I'm amazed at that 48 car being in the top 10.
I mean, that car has been junk today, and yet he's running in the 10th position. Former winner here. What year was it? Was that 2010, 2011 he won here? Yeah.
That's going to be a detriment for some of the people that say he can't drive.
Yeah. He is muddling along here in the 10th position, which you can't believe Johnson's 10th. I can't believe Newman's 6th and Jones is 8th.
Tell you what, Chase Elliott gonna lose. He probably can't believe he's suddenly got a mirror full of PPG blue.
Yeah, Elliott and Blaney are together off turn 7.
And Suarez isn't too far back in this, so young gun battle for third. This will be fun. Elliott, Blaney, Suarez, and Elliott has a good run. Extends the gap through the S's. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is 2.6 back of Martin Truex Jr. They're in 11.
Martin Truex Jr. holding a 2+ second advantage on his teammate Kyle Busch. And again, we are in the window now where these guys can now make a pit stop, and it would be their final one of the day. Of course, that is if we don't get a caution, which we have not had a caution for incident today. And that's nothing new when it comes to Sonoma. Because this track is so big, you can have spins like we've had with McDowell and Preece and so on, and not have a full course caution. So if we don't get a full course caution, then these guys can make it on just one more stop. And the question will be, when will they pit? Will anyone short pit here and try to pit early and go then a long ways to the finish on tires? Because we are inside the final 30 laps, and the fuel window is 27 to 33 laps, so they can pit now and won't have to worry about getting to the end of regulation on fuel. They would have to worry if we went to overtime. And we've seen fuel mileage races here at Sonoma, no doubt. Jeff Gordon won a few fuel mileage races here. 2000 and 2004 came down to fuel. And who could forget in 2006? I know he didn't win the race, but Terry Labonte stretching it on fuel.
For Hall of Fame Racing.
Yes, Troy Aikman, a part of that team. The DLP Instruments number 96 with Felipe Lopez as the crew chief.
Are you sure it wasn't Royce McGee?
I am sure, yes. There's an inside joke.
Yeah, they said the brightest shining moment for that team.
No doubt.
But that was an amazing run by Terry White in that 96 car. I said you had the fuel mileage races there in 2004. Now tell me who was second running out of gas.
Rusty Wallace.
By trying and failing to catch him.
Yeah, Rusty Wallace was running inside the top 5 and ran out of fuel and didn't make it back to the checkers. Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, were the second and third place finishers that day respectively McMurray and Pruitt?
Yeah, Jamie McMurray was second, and he was closing in on Gordon because Gordon was trying to save fuel, and Scott Pruitt probably could have gotten by McMurray, but decided not to because he was a team car to McMurray and he was playing good soldier. Speaking of the number 24 car, William Byron on pit road, so with 30 laps to go, Byron, along with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on pit road. So that answers that question, Seth. And
that's going to be a good teammate, Dale.
No kidding. Ryan Preece on pit road, too.
Yes, he's had an adventurous weekend, as we've mentioned, but...
So now the race is really on here, Seth, because William Byron is on fresh tires, and he's in clean air. He can put the pedal down and go, and see how much ground he can make up before the rest of these leaders come down pit road. I think that was a good call by Chad Knaus to pit early.
I tell you, Truex nearly hit that wall there at the end of that little barrier there.
Yeah, I tell you what, Austin Dillon hit those tires right there. They put those tires up there, and it's not really a wall because they're separated. Put those tires up there in turn 11. Austin Dillon hit those in practice. I mean, it tore the right side of that car up like a can opener. It's unbelievable. William Byron just pitted down his teammates in. That's Chase Elliott. Hey, Seth, I'm going to give you the stop. I'm going to bet this is 4 tires and fuel.
Well, they start over to the right side, and they'll put gas. Oh, machine now. Hey, you got it. You're right. It is 4 tires and fuel for Chase Elliott. How about that? How about Joey Logano? I'm going to guess he does the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to bet so. To the right sides of that shell. Uh-oh. Chase Elliott. Hood going up, Seth.
Hood's up on Chase Elliott.
Oh, what a heartbreak.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Logano's down away.
Oh, my goodness.
Hood up, still up.
Wow, what could have went wrong? And, these
Let's go to the tape.
These cars take a beating, and this could be a transmission issue.
That's what I'm looking for.
I mean, these cars take an absolute beating. No oil pressure for Chase Elliott.
Oh, oil pressure blew up.
Wow. And he was one of the contenders, no doubt. No doubt he was a contender to win it. So, Chase Elliott is out of the running to win, no doubt about it now, as he goes a lap down. Oil pressure low. He said he felt like it was blowing up. Tough break for Elliott. Eric Jones was inside the top 10. Craftsman Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing is now on pit road. What a tremendous comeback he's had after a horrendous day yesterday. Kevin Harvick follows him on pit road, as does Clint Boyer. Kurt Busch is in on this lap too. We run with 28 laps to go. Right sides are on the Boyer machine. They'll swing over to the left side. Kurt Busch will take 4 tires and fuel. Seth, Eric Jones doing the same, I assume?
I think you probably assumed correctly. Same for Kevin Harvick. He's in as well. He's down and away. I wanted to finish something real quick as everybody else is coming on pit road. I didn't want to say, going back to one of the races you were talking about just a minute ago. Yeah, he got a lot of flag, he got a lot of things. I know people talk about it on restrictor plates, but my God, Jamie McMurray was a really good road course racer.
It's a terrific road course racer.
He was really good here.
Yeah, he was. Sat on the pole here in 06 and 07.
Should have won in 07.
Yeah. If he didn't run out of fuel, he probably would have beaten Montoya. And he probably would have had a better day in '06 had it not been for a lap 1 mistake as they are pushing Chase Elliott's car behind the wall. He is done for the day in Sonoma. And
Chase Elliott will be crushing grapes for the last 28 laps.
Yeah, he will. He'll be drinking his wine earlier than he wanted.
Me too! Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr.
Oh, Lord, let's hope that doesn't catch on.
Oh, you know it will.
Yeah, especially
if they set up the races for the world beat in the second half of the season.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Those two are the leaders. Truex, who has dominated basically ever since the end of the first stage. Oh, Daniel's on pit road, and they can't get the jack out.
Oh, God.
Oh, the jack dropped on the 41. Oh, jeez. Oh, and now they had an uncontrolled tire, too.
Oh, no.
Ryan Newman on pit road. It's a tough break for Suarez. Slow on the right side of Newman. Meanwhile, Busch is catching Truex. We'll get that in a moment as Austin Dillon is also in. I was mentioning Truex, how he's dominated. He's led 35 of the race's 63 laps to this point. But Seth, Kyle's coming quick.
Yes, he is. Really coming. Really there. A second and a half difference. We see more drivers on pit road. We've got Darrell Wallace Jr. He's in the pit. Normal service there. But yeah, Truex is going to have a lot of candy in his rearview mirror in a minute.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see who has the better pit stop. Is Truex pitting? Yes, he is. Will Kyle follow him? Kyle really needs to follow him, but he's not. He's not. So Kyle Busch needs to put in a heck of an in lap, and Truex has to put in a heck of an out lap. This might decide the race right here as Truex comes in. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. We're not reinventing the wheel with that. And Kyle Busch is going to have to put in a heck of an in lap here to try to be able to come in and then come off pit road ahead of Truex. They were pretty much right together. Not much separated the two. Truex is away. Third place running Ryan Blaney in as well. And that's a pretty good stop for the PPG boys. So,
confirmation of Suarez penalty uncontrolled tire.
So, wow, that just went all down the tube for Suarez in one stop. Cars that haven't yet to pit include Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin. They are first, second, and third. And the question will be, when Kyle Busch, as we get a replay on the world feed of not only the uncontrolled tire on Suarez, but also before that the jack dropped off the car. And he's back on pit road to serve his penalty. He was getting set for at least a top 10 day, if not top 5. Okay, now, our eyes and attention go to Kyle Busch, who's trying to put in a flyer of a lap here, and try to put in a banker lap. We're speaking IndyCar and Formula One terms here, but that's what he's trying to do, to try to stretch the gap from Truex so he can come down pit road, change his 4 tires, and then exit with the lead. But he's not coming in this time either. He's staying out an extra lap. Adam Stevens with a bit of an off strategy here for Kyle Busch. He's over the line. We're down to 25 laps to go, but that's a long way here at Sonoma, Seth. And he's got a 16-second lead on DiBenedetto.
Yeah, and DiBenedetto's coming in now, but we know sometimes Stevens has a tendency to make some good pit calls, or off-strategy pit calls.
Yeah, he does. So we've got right at 60 miles left in this race, about 63 miles to go. And Kyle Busch trying to go with an off strategy here to try to take the lead and maybe the win away from Martin Truex Jr., the defending winner here in Sonoma. Truex is currently... Where is Truex?
Third.
There he is. 33 seconds. 33 seconds back. So, is 33 seconds enough for Busch to come down pit road, change tires, and get out in front? Well, we're about to find out. But I can't believe he didn't pit last time, because Truex is just putting in big-time laps on those fresh tires, while Busch is still out here 3 seconds off the pace on the old tires.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Meanwhile, for you William Byron fans, short pitting helped him. He moved up from 15th to 10th. And unfortunately, we haven't said this sentence much ever, but unfortunately I think the calls from the top of the pit box and Chad Knaus really ruined William Byron's chances of winning, don't you think?
I would think so. Here's a radio issue with Kyle Busch.
Oh, no. Well, maybe they're...
He also calls us that we needed a water and ice. Well, come to pit road, you'll get that, I would think.
Oh, he just threw out a water bottle up there, up at the top of the hill.
Just take the Robbie Gordon here.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, maybe they're calling him onto pit road and he can't hear him.
There it is. Little bit of littering at 140, 50 miles an hour.
So, I don't know why I did that. That'll bring out a caution because he threw it out in the grass.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure how he thinks that's going to help. But this is Martin Truex Jr.'s race to win now, because in just 2 laps, he's cut the gap from 33 seconds to 30.5 seconds. So the only thing that's going to save Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin at this point is a caution, which would probably force everyone to pit. Oh, and here's confirmation, Seth. PRN's Jim Noble reported that Kyle Busch has been called to pit road twice, and he drove past twice. Now he's coming in.
I say he looked like he was speeding.
Well, he doesn't need to get down to pit road speed until that yellow line, and now he's in, Seth.
Yeah, there you go. So go to the right side first, down the left side. 4 tires of fuel for Kyle Busch. And he's down away. And now the thing is, the outlap situation. Let's get a camera on the 19 and Truex.
Denny Hamlin pits from second. And Seth's right. Truex is already onto the main stretch. Yeah, this isn't even going to be close. Yeah, that radio issue is going to cost Kyle Busch the race. Look how far, Seth, Truex is going to be in front of him. Oh, my.
Yeah.
He's going to have 5 seconds on him.
Wow.
Maybe 6. Wow, my goodness. Yeah, there was no way that was their strategy. There was no way that was their strategy to stay out, 4 laps longer. I mean, that was just... no. Well, he needs a caution now, doesn't he? Along with everybody else. Everybody else needs a caution, too.
Yeah.
William Byron moving up to 9th. So 9th position for Byron, as that pitting early has helped him move up through the field. Martin Truex Jr. has led 36 laps here at Sonoma. And we're getting down to the final stages here. We've had 6 lead changes among 4 different drivers, only 2 cautions, both for stage ends. We've not had a full course caution for incident. And that's what all these drivers are hoping for, is to get a caution, to get a chance at Martin Truex Jr., who has dominated again Sonoma. And we do this a lot, Seth. Give a call to some guys. How about we give a call to a bunch of guys here? Let's start with Matt DiBenedetto, who runs 12th.
Yeah, solid day for that team. A much needed solid day for that team. France just scored, and we think it's going to stand to go up 2-1.
We think it's going to stand. Give a call as well to Ryan Newman. We've talked about him a lot today, Seth. He's up in the 7th position. And he's, again, it's going to be one of these runs like, where did he come from? But I tell you what, here's the one I can't believe. Been talking about this all day. Said Jimmy Johnson is 5th.
So all you people out there that were saying, I know I'm talking to 1 or 2 or 3 of you, this gives you probably a little bit of flashbacks when he was doing this stuff at the height of his championship powers.
And Seth, I wish you...
Finishes like this out of his rear. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd wish you'd look at who's 4th. That's amazing.
I'm going back on there. Well, no, who is 4th?
Kevin Harvick.
Of course he is.
Timing and scoring has Harvick in 4th. And
But Mart Truex Jr.'s race to lose, that's not a surprise to anybody.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, Kyle Busch having those radio issues really cost him the race unless we get a caution. The lead is 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Yeah, I mean, that completely cost him a chance to get a victory here and maybe overtake Truex. A real shame. Give another call. How about the guy running in 8th? What a run he's had. And, of course, you got some guys as well that you just feel bad for, like Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez. Those guys had some good runs going, and unfortunately, some bad luck caught up to them.
Yep. Indeed. Indeed so. But it's the Truex show now.
Trying to win on another road course here is Truex. He won this race a year ago. Year before that, he won at Watkins Glen. And he nearly won at Watkins Glen last year, too, as well. We're gonna have a battle for 3rd here in just a moment.
Truex with a 7-second lead as he is now entering turn 11.
That battle for 3rd is going to be between Blaney and Harvick. As we mentioned, Harvick running in that 4th position. What a recovery he's had today. And road course races a lot, the comers and goers of road course racing. We get it a lot. And certainly here today. I mean, this top 10, so much of this top 10 is just stunning to see. DiBenedetto is up into the 10th position. And now he slipped back, apparently.
Now he's at the 10th again. The graphics have been kind of all over the place today.
So DiBenedetto is 10th, which is good for him. This would be a 3rd win at Sonoma for Truex. Might we not forget he won here for Michael Waltrip Racing in 2013. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick and Ryan Blaney in turn 5. Harvick in the Mobil 1 Ford, who won here a couple of years ago as well, closing in. Blaney, the winner at the Charlotte Road Course last year, trying to hold himself into one of those podium positions. And they are about 5 seconds ahead of the 5th place car of Jimmy Johnson. 20 laps to go, still a long ways to go. 2.5 mile course, 2.52 miles really, so still 50 miles left in this race. And we are closing in on what might be another road course win for Martin Truex Jr. Who took him in nearest the win, would be my question.
Yeah.
Do we know who did?
I'm trying to figure it out. Give me just a second. Kyle cut a little bit off that lead. It was 8 seconds. Now it's like 6.3.
Yeah.
Okay. No one took Truex, but...
Wow.
But a guy named Mike took Kyle Busch.
I am very surprised that no one took Truex.
Here's the order. Matt White went with Boyer. Larry took Larson. Darrell went with Denny Hamlin. Mike, Kyle Busch. Caitlin C took Ryan Blaney. So Mike and Caitlin are in battle.
Yeah, really.
Daryl and Caitlin won in the F1 race with Hamilton. Matt White went with Leclerc. Larry went Bottas. Mike went Bottas. Lita went Bottas. I went Vettel. Matt and Big Mo, Mega Matt, went Verstappen. I was gonna say, I have my nicknames for you. Ever Big Mo, my brother from another mother from the Dove Cove. Also, though, I would like to say that's my other name for you. Because in more ways than one, your name be Mega Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I can do that, and it's true, and I can also do it in a certain voice.
You know, I will add to what you just said. Kyle Busch, as we might remember, pitted 3 laps later than Truex. Well, 3 laps doesn't sound like much, but the tire deck... What in the world is wrong with Keselowski?
Yeah, Brad Keselowski coming into the pits.
Oh, well, my gosh. Well, tough break for Keselowski. But anyway, Kyle Busch, 3 laps might not sound like much, but with the tire degradation here at Sonoma, as much as it is, maybe those 3 laps, 3-lap fresher tires, maybe he can run Truex down. Because Seth mentioned that he cut it down. He's cut it down even further. It's 5 seconds.
Yeah, he really has. Now, some of that might be Truex trying to save the tires, but nevertheless, Almirola loose back there. He and Hamlin were battling. By the way, Harvick and Blaney. Harvick's all over the back of Blaney for third.
Yeah, Harvick trying to get up to the podium spot. Ryan Blaney's had a terrific day all afternoon long in wine country. But Blaney holds on to the 3rd position. And we're getting down to it, 17 laps to go in the Toyota Save Mart 350. And can we get it done in one broadcast is the question. We're down to 23 minutes. 23 minutes remaining on the broadcast time. Can we get 17 laps in 23 minutes?
So we got time limit here, too.
That's right. Will we have to start another broadcast or not is the question. We are all waiting with bated breath to find out. Yeah, Larry, no one took Truex. Hard to believe. Can I change my pick? I mean, my heavens.
Look, hey, you already won once today.
That's true. That's true. And I would have picked Hamilton if I could have, but I couldn't because I took him in Canada. So, those rules, rules are meant to be...
Mister, you can't take the same guy back-to-back weeks.
You cannot, no. So, Seth don't even know the rules and he playing. Oh, boy. Rules are...
Because of Matt White and Larry B, Matt White, that is, and Larry were talking earlier in the week, or not earlier in the week, earlier this year about something up like that. And so Matt told him, Larry, don't forget the rules. You can't think about it. At least I'm like, in the world.
Rules are made to be broken, don't you know?
Absolutely. So,
Kyle Busch is catching him. It's down to.
I gotta be strategic because I told you last night I've already got my Daytona nearest the win, but I gotta be strategic and not go him in Chicago.
3.5 seconds here, Mr. Eaves.
He's getting there.
He is. Those 3 laps.
They'll be physical.
Those 3 laps. Maybe it wasn't a mistake after all. Maybe that's what they were planning. They say, yeah, let's say we're having radio issues. That'll fool them.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I want to know what's going on with Ryan Preece's dash, Seth, because I know good and well his last lap time was not 40 seconds. I know they're not going around this track in 40 seconds. I know that for a fact. So I want to know what's going on with his dash. And it better not be 1 minute and 40 seconds either, because we got a problem if it's that too.
Yeah.
Ryan Preece, I think, is just ready for this weekend to end. This race used to be, when we had the carousel, our first run with the carousel, this race used to be 74 laps. It was a 300-kilometer race. And we are at 74 laps now. In fact, Truex comes across the line, and he just completed the 75th lap. But can he hold on to a quickly diminishing and decreasing lead?
No, he can't.
Well, there's a prediction from Darrell Eaves.
I really don't know. I just wanted to get that in.
Is it Darrell Eaves or Seth Waltrip?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. But Truex Jr. looks good with the carousel.
Yep, approaching the carousel now. 15 to go. He'll get that car off to the left, cut it tight through turn 6 and 6A, better known as the carousel. Wonder how many times we've said that word in this broadcast.
Logano's in.
Uh-oh, that's an unscheduled stop. That is not good for Joey Logano. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as well. Boy, that's unscheduled for the both of them. That's strange that they both came in at the same time. 15 to go.
Kyle Busch is being told every lap not to use up his stuff. Adam wants him to say something when he catches Truex.
Okay, hold on a minute. Save stuff for when he catches him. Well, if he's saving stuff, how does he catch him?
That's what I was sitting there thinking.
I mean,
Martin might be slowing down, let the other guy catch up. That's what's going on here.
I mean, how the hell is he supposed to catch him if he eases up? I don't get that.
Battery issue for Logano. Reportedly been having electrical problems all race. Battery issue for the 22 of Logano.
Tough break. It's inside of 3 seconds with 14 to go. Let's pick up Truex top of the hill.
Yeah, Truex is still the leader. Cole Hearn being the steady voice. Crew chief, the lead is down to just 2.8 seconds. 14 laps to go. Martin Truex Jr. still leader. There are some slow cars ahead of him as he enters 5.
Yeah, he's going to need some help from these lap cars ahead of him. Doesn't need to be held up by any back markers. Meanwhile, top of the hill, Seth, battle for 6th.
Yeah, Matt Benedetto is by Ryan Newman. And so Benedetto gets the spot and up into 6th. Newman's going to try to come back, though. Well, he went to the bumper and missed. Washed up the track.
So Newman, heavy braking in turn 4, couldn't quite get to the bumper of DiBenedetto, and the Levine Family Racing Procore Toyota Camry is up into the 5th position. Seth told you earlier, they haven't had a top 10 all year, even though they probably deserved at least a couple. Certainly did in the Daytona 500. But he's running in the 6th position, here with 14 laps to go. Here's Truex now, turn 11, catching some lap traffic. And boy, he's in a sandwich, really. Landon Castle is right there, but Truex is going to get away from 2 of them. Now Busch has to deal with the traffic. Hopefully for Kyle Busch's sake, it's not Mike Bliss in there. 13 laps to go. And up the hill Truex goes.
And Mike Stennett.
Let's see, Seth, can he get by him?
Not now. There he goes. By the way, they told him already led the most laps, you might remember. Looks like Newman's gotten back by him.
Yeah, he did.
Let's just pass that one in that car. And now Busch going to try to get the 2nd as they head for 5. He's fine with ease. It's down to 2 seconds.
Yep, gets by Castle in turn 4. And now they're starting to approach Joey Logano, who had the battery issues. And well, I mean, it's not a Formula One race, but it's a Formula One idea, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And at last check, Logano isn't, BFFs with either one of these guys. Busch cuts into it a ton in turn 7.
Yeah, oh boy. Joe Gibbs. He's going to have 2 cars battling for the win here. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin out bone battling for 9. Ooh.
Oh boy, Hamlin to the inside in turn 6. And he's going to get to the inside of Bowman as they make their way down the drag strip. Hamlin is up into the 9th position, your Stage 2 winner. Stage 1 winner was William Byron. He's 12th. Hamlin is 9th as he gets around Bowman, who tries to hold on to a top 10 finishing position. 13 to go, about to be 12.
1.8 seconds is a differential.
Oh, gosh, 12 laps is a long time, too. He's going to catch him. And we can basically say this together. Catching him's one thing.
Passing him's another.
There you go. We've got that down like a quartet.
I guess we combine the two of us, we are big enough.
So that's exactly what I was going for. Through turn 4, and now 5. Kyle Busch trying to run down Martin Truex Jr. 2 seconds is the difference. 12 laps to go. Boy, oh boy, it's going to come all the way down to the wire. Here they are on the drag strip. Inside of 2 seconds now. Into turn 7. More lap traffic ahead of these guys. Closing in on Parker Kligerman as they come out of 7 and into the S's.
Kyle for his 5th road course win. I mean, most of my active drivers, but Truex will be co-active if he wins. It would be his 4th. Busch trying to catch. 1.8.
Oh, he's sliding it out of 10. Truex to the inside of Kligerman. Truex has caught these lap cars in a good spot. Kyle really didn't catch him in a good spot last time, but he still got by him easily on the entry to 4. 11 to go as Truex comes across the line. And up the hill he goes with a 1.8 second lead, but Kyle Busch is closing in now. Seth, can he get around Kligerman?
Yeah, let's see. Kligerman's going to try to get way, and he does. So Kligerman getting way. Meanwhile, 5th place in the main stretch.
DiBenedetto on Jimmy Johnson. Be a miracle if Johnson can finish top 5. Heck, it'd be a miracle if he finished top 10 with the way his race has gone. But what a battle this could be for DiBenedetto as he tries to get into a top 5 placing.
Yeah, he's right there. He's going to work the bumper on him. Now, another run coming in for DiBenedetto right there. He's right there. Right there. Can he get to Johnson? Johnson still hanging out. DiBenedetto's going to try to make the move. Heading for 5. DiBenedetto's there. On the curve. Side by side, man.
Johnson gave him a lot of room, and that was very respectful. DiBenedetto takes the spot. He's up to 5th. So DiBenedetto moves into the top 5 with 11 laps to go. Johnson will try to fight back, but I'm not quite sure if he can on these old tires. No, DiBenedetto gets a great drive off of the carousel and onto the drag strip.
Maybe Truex was doing some saving because the lead is that one is kind of stabilized these last lap or 2.
Yep, 1.4 seconds now. Busch piles it into turn 11. And the more the laps wind down, Busch is going to go deeper and deeper into that number 11 turn.
And I know it's a teammate, but at the same time, Kyle has been extra aggressive.
Well, yeah, and these two.
He's also thinking, I've been roughed up by a teammate before.
Yeah, and I don't think these two. I don't think of these two as great friends to begin with.
No. There is a rivalry there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the last time I can remember having a rivalry with teammates like this, well, I would say Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, but for the most part, they like each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. Oh, how about the trend, Seth? Is the trend your friend today?
We'll find out in about 4 laps because the average of last caution and last 10 summer races, 6 to go. We're currently at 10 to go.
So is the trend your friend? Kyle Busch continues to close in on Truex. It's at a 1.5 seconds as they come out of the hairpin of 7.
Busch, William Byron.
Whoa!
For him. Lawrence is going to try to get them both. To the inside of Byron, to the inside of Busch. That's a teammate. Kyle, be careful. Ah!
And Busch holds on to the 13th spot. Larson gets by Byron for 14th. Stage 1 winner Byron slips to 15th. This might not be done. In the carousel, it's Larson underneath the spoiler of Busch. Meanwhile, the leader's back to turn 11, and it's even closer between Truex and Kyle Busch now. Truex got a good run out of 11, though. 9 laps to go, and he did. He pulled him by a couple of car lengths that time. He got it up to 1.8 seconds. Really good drive off 11 that time for Truex. 9 to go.
Yeah, Truex really did drive there, so Kyle Busch losing a few tenths to Martin Truex Jr. that time. And I think we might have gotten our answer about whether Truex was saving or not. Maybe he was making sure that ain't used up a bit much. Truex with a healthy lead as he heads for 5.
Remember, Kyle Busch was told to save some. Wonder if Cole Perrin was telling Martin Truex Jr. the same thing. As they make their way out of turn 5, back to the carousel. Are these the 2 best road course racers of the current crop? They're no Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart, but they're pretty darn good, I'd say. 7 road course wins between Truex and Busch, and they might have to settle this one between themselves. Turn 7.
Yeah, there's lap traffic ahead as well.
And it's not just 1 or 2 cars. It's quite a bit.
So how will that come into effect? As they go through the S's, Truex still a comfortable lead. Busch going to try for everything he's got, but Truex still in a comfortable lead. Kyle Busch trying to get one last shot, but Truex's lead is nearly gapped back to 2 seconds.
Busch gets a good run out of 10, looks for 11. Truex is not close enough to these lap cars to pass him at 11 like he had in the last few of the back markers. As they come to the line, 8 laps to go for Martin Truex Jr. It's a 1.6 second advantage on Kyle Busch. Up the hill they go. And Truex continues to close in on back markers, but he's not close enough to make a pass yet. And Busch got a really good run that time into 2.
Yeah, he really did. About 4 tenths off that lead that time. Adam Stevens of the crew. All they can do is watch to see if their uber-talented driver can pull one out. He is a second and a half back. Truex still stuck behind a lap car there.
Yeah, Truex.
We've tried to get a feel with Sonoma races in the past.
Yeah, we have. Here they are in turn 5. Now Truex will get to the inside of Matt Tifft. He'll make the pass in the carousel. Now Kyle Busch has to deal with the lap car of Tifft. And Michael McDowell just in front of these guys down the drag strip now. Truex and Busch separated by 1.3 seconds. The battle for the 6th position begins to heat up. Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson. But our attention is at the front, where the lead...
We know how Denny does when he gets around Jimmy.
That's right. Through turn 5, he's right underneath the spoiler of that Ally Financial Chevrolet Camaro for Hendrick Motorsports. Here they are into the carousel. Johnson holding on to the 6th position on Hamlin. Ryan Newman's only about 2 seconds off that battle. 1.2 seconds now, the gap from first to second, as Busch has hit the button, it seems.
Yeah, it's less than a second.
In turn 11, Truex. When he gets to the line, there will be 7 laps to go. It looks as if Truex is better in turn 11, but it seems as if Busch might be better in every other corner, and McDowell in front.
Yeah, that's going to create havoc. So Kyle Busch still trying. He lost a few tenths there in the corners as he goes through, weaving through that M&M's Hazelnut Toyota. It's a 1.6 second lead. Truex still here heading for 5, but Kyle's still got something left in the tank, you feel.
And remember, these two are some 23 seconds ahead of third place Ryan Blaney. So if we get a situation like we got with Matt Tifft and Jeremy Clements at Road America, if they get off the course, they need to get back on it because they can still hold on to the lead.
Absolutely.
Heading for 7, Truex and Busch. Busch closes in. Busch is really good in turn 7. He makes up a lot of time right here, Seth.
He does. Down to 1.1 second. Kyle Busch trying to get through the S's. Truex is now a good ways back of the Michael McDowell machine, so that's still not an immediate concern. Ryan Blaney is 23 seconds back. You might want to get pedaled a little bit harder so he can
He did it at the last road course race in Charlotte on September 30th of a year ago. Leaders coming out of 11 rather, and coming to 6 to go. Again, 2 lap cars ahead of these guys, and here they are up the hill, and this is not a good place to catch lap traffic. Watch out!
And they're side by side. They're side by side, the lap cars are. That's really going to get Busch close, and he can come it in. Truex now. Got to try to find a way around one of them. Ty Dillon has him hemmed in.
Oh.
Here's Truex, right side. Still having a bit of trouble with him. And Kyle got a great run in 5, but Truex is by Dillon.
Truex gets by Dillon in turn 4, but Kyle Busch closes in. It's Dillon now between the 2 leaders. Michael McDowell is still in front of Truex as they make out of turn 5 into the carousel. Busch goes aggressively to the inside of Ty Dillon. He's going to make the pass. It's less than a second. Kyle Busch down the drag strip, heading for turn 7 now. And Michael McDowell still in front of the 2 leaders.
Kyle's there. Oh, he can almost touch that bumper. He is trying to get him there as they head for the S's. Truex, though, still a comfortable lead, but he's got to catch Michael McDowell. Should be able to get near him by the time they get back to turn 11. How much ground will Busch make up in that meantime? It's down to less than a second. It's about 9/10 of a second, the differential between the 2 Gibbs teammates. Truex in the lead. Busch, though, coming on with a head of steam.
An incredible finish coming up in Sonoma. Truex does get to the inside of Michael McDowell in turn 11. McDowell gives him more than enough room. But now Kyle Busch, he was not close enough to make the pass on McDowell in 11. He's got to set up a pass elsewhere. 5 laps to go as Truex is over the line. Up the hill they'll go, and now McDowell is between the 2 leaders.
That might have been all Truex needed right there. That really would have been all Truex needed. Busch still hemmed in McDowell. Now McDowell will let the 18 by, and now it's just these 2. Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. Mono with 5 to go at Sonoma. May the best man win as they head for 5.
Here they are out of turn number 4 and heading for 5. Truex and Busch. 1.3 seconds separates the 2 former champions running for Joe Gibbs Racing, trying to give the coach another road course win. Truex looking for his 4th career Cup win on the road course. Busch is looking for his 5th. Down the drag strip now, the old drag strip, and back towards 7. Busch, this is where he can really send it in and close in. He's been doing it every time through this section of the track, Seth. He's gotten within, 3-4 car lengths?
Yes, but boy, Truex really good there. And Busch trying to use every inch of the racetrack, trying to find a line and get him to the 19, but man, Truex actually gaining tenths on our scoring monitor. He is really picking it up. Kyle Busch running out of time and race car perhaps as they head for 10. It's now a 1.5 second lead.
Back towards turn 11 where Truex has been getting a better drive off than Busch. That's really where Truex has been able to keep his lead, is by getting this drive off 11. They come to the line and we're inside the final 4 laps of the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma. Can Kyle Busch run down Martin Truex Jr.? They head for the hill.
Yeah, Truex still a pretty comfortable lead. Busch trying everything he's got. Meanwhile, Matt DiBenedetto is trying to take 4th from Kevin Harvick.
And
he might get him at 11.
He got a really good run out of 10. He got to the inside at 11, and Matt DiBenedetto is up into the 4th position. DiBenedetto moves to 4th. Wow. What a tremendous run for Levine Family Racing. 4th position for Matt DiBenedetto.
Yeah, up the hill. He is and he's not going to catch Blaney, but man, this was a 110-lap race. You'd be wondering, could he finish 3rd?
No kidding. Meanwhile, leaders head to 7. Busch was able to cut half a second out of the lead through the opening half of the lap. Here he comes. This is where he's been getting his biggest runs into the S's.
Yeah, but he's a bit far off this time. Here's my thing with Kyle Busch. When he gets to about 2 to go, he's going to be like, I don't care if he uses my stuff up. I want to win, so keep your eye on him in that instance. Truex keeping the lead. Busch second, the gap at 1.2 seconds. Steady lead for Truex, but Busch still has a good enough race car. Let's see what kind of run he turn 11.
Again, he packs it into turn 11. He enters in deeper, but Truex gets the better run out of the corner. When they get to the line, there will be 3 laps to go in Sonoma. 28 seconds ahead of third place running Ryan Blaney. 3 to go. How physical will it get if Busch catches him?
That will be the question, but he's got to catch him first. Busch can see him, but he just can't quite figure. Go ahead.
He got a really good run out of that corner.
He did. 2 former champions settling in amongst themselves at Sonoma. 2 of the best road racers settling it out. Maybe the 2 best of the current crop. Busch a little sideways there, Matt.
Yeah, he didn't get through turn 4 all that well that time, and he drops back to 1.2 seconds. Off the bumper of race leader